Yes, people, how you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. I hope you're all happy and healthy, doing the things you love to do. It's Wednesday evening, afternoon, or whatever you want to call 20 past 5. I hope you are locked in, dialed in. We've got a lot to get through. It's just me and it's just you. I've been doing a lot of like multi-streams and kind of combo tactics the last few weeks on live streams, but I felt like it's time to get back to my roots today and just sort of talk to you guys as though we're all in the same room down the pub. Listen, let me ask you for some favors, guys, as we get straight into what is an exciting period, but also that's muddled with a hell of a lot of incredibly frustrating news if you're a Tottenham fan. And I'm guessing if you're watching this, then you're dialed in and you already know that Christian Romero is out. Not just for tomorrow's game against Brighton, which I'm going to. And I'll tell you what, it takes the shine off it a little bit, because the last time I went to see Tottenham play away without Romero, it wasn't, or was it Manchester City? No, it was okay. You know what? I suddenly feel better about myself. I was going to say we didn't have Romero, and that was the Wolves game. But actually, I was at the City game, and we had no Romero then either. But we did okay. We were just fine. Even though on another day, that day could have gone an incredibly wildly different direction. But that's the sort of rub of the green that you need if you fancy being top four. And guys, we need to get through the next 3 games. We need to find a way to get through tomorrow. And I think we can find it. I think we can. It's not going to be easy. It never is. But Brighton away has traditionally been, I'm not trying to curse the football gods here, but it's traditionally been a fixture that Tottenham have done relatively well in, relative to other teams, considering the strength that Brighton have. But Brighton are also riddled with injuries. It's not easy for them either. So it's almost like the B version of Tottenham against the B version of Brighton. What's going to happen? It's going to be a lottery, if I'm entirely honest. But if we can get through that, and then if we can get through 3 days later against a team that's in unbelievable form, and we're going to start talking. Before we get into the Brighton game, guys, I'm going to say hello to you lot. I'm going to get some kind of admin out the way. I want to talk to you guys. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about some transfer news. I want to get your takes on this in a live stream format. And then we're going to talk about Brighton. But it's a crazy day for me. I woke up this morning. I was full of beans. I was like 24 hours until I get to see the mighty Tottenham again. Then I remembered that Brighton's Amex Stadium is in the middle of nowhere and that you can't park anywhere near it unless you are early birds to parking scenarios. So I went on all the parking places, and of course they've all been taken. So now I've got to figure out what I'm going to do. So the day started badly. Then I go out and take the dog for a walk, and I do my video that some of you may or may not have seen. If you haven't, we'll talk about some of the stuff that's in it, but not all of the stuff that's in it, and you can watch that afterwards. But of course, I come back, and by that point, the Romero news is already out. So I've missed the boat. I'm talking about things that are now not that important because Romero is the most important thing. So it's been one of those days. It's been one of those days. Cheers. Let's see who's in the house. Let's see who's in the house. Moon Doggy Dog's in the house. A member for 18 months. One of my day one homies. How are you, Moon Dog? You spent your 18-month freebie on the super chat thing, saying good evening. Come on, you Spurs. Well, good evening to you, my man. Good evening to you. I hope you're well, buddy. Always appreciate you being around here. You've been waiting for this for, what's that say, 4:52. You've been waiting for about 23 minutes or so. Colin Merison's in the house as well. We got Colin. Sell Cootie in the summer. Doesn't really matter how good someone is if he plays too few games. He's either injured or suspended, and it becomes a problem for the team. I'm going to star that comment, Colin, because you know what? If I was saying that, if I was saying sell QT Romero, the amount of hate I would get. But I don't want to sell him. I definitely don't want to sell him. However, I think there is a little bit of logic to your madness there. He has missed so many games, not just this season, last season, in his first season. He's injury prone, suspension prone. But listen, I think this year is just one of those things. Everything seems to be going wrong for us. But it was good to see you, Colin. Good to see you, mate. GM, Gamer 16, Dyer and Davies need to play the game of their lives. That's if Eric Dyer is playing, Gamer. That is if Eric Dyer is playing, and we're not sure he's going to be. I don't think he will be. I think Emerson Royale will be deputized back in. Guys, before we get any further, can I just ask you for some favors, if you don't mind? There's 180 of you in the house, give or take. Can you hit the like button for me? Just smash it right up. Just do your thing. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. We're on the march to 21K. Hit the notification bell and drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts. You know the thing. Drop a comment. Let's carry on. Let's see what's in the house. Nick Carey's in the house. Bet there's an international break in 4 to 5 weeks. Well, there is an international break at some point in January. I'm not sure when it is. We'll figure that out. Let me come back to that. I'm going to star that too. Boxing Hotspur saying, we're going to lose a lot of these games now. I don't want to be buying some dross centre-back for the sake of it. Get a proper one or don't bother. 100%. The most important thing for me out of this January window is that we do not reshape our plans for short-termism. I don't want us to, say, oh, we've lost Bentancur, we've lost Bissouma until February, therefore let's prioritise a midfielder. No. If a midfielder is part of the plans, then fine. But if it wasn't part of the plans, but now it is because of Bentancur's injury and because of Bissouma's suspension plus AFCON, then no. You don't do that. You don't lumber yourself with 5-year problems because you're short-termisming it, if that's even a word. Short-termisming it. That can't be a word. It's not a word. Let's carry on. Cantab, Colin, I agree with you. Oh, there's two for the see you later Cootie story. Lee B, boxing. I agree. We need to buy signing. We plan to not buy, panic buy 100%. It's happened again. It is happening again, mate. We are doing it again. 3 for all. We are doing it again. David says, I don't care who we get. Anything is better than Dyer. Argentinian players are always injured. Drew Zilla, my man, is in the house. Member for 6 months. Congratulations on 6 months loyalty. I really appreciate you, buddy. Massive part of this channel. Let's go. Let's get into it. 100%. Let's get into it. Let's see what else is going on. She's one of our own. She's one of our own. Bugsy Malone. She's one of our own. Yeah, John, I don't think you actually like me. I think you just like my dog. And that's okay. That's part of the reason why I got her, It's fine with me. Mick Hermaluk. Good evening, Sean. Good evening, Mick. Drew Zilla saying, big up, everyone. You know what you got to do. Great holidays. 100%. Smash the like button and remember to subscribe. Check you're subscribed. Exactly. Check you are subscribed because there's shenanigans afoot. There is a lovely chair. People don't like the chair. People will get used to the chair. 4 fullbacks again. Yeah, we are going back to 4fullbacks.com. Listen, I'm going to say hello to, as we go through it, let me just, so I've got lots to talk about. I don't want to spend an hour and a half just clicking through everyone, but I want to say welcome everybody. Spurs GCTV with a super chat. Big up Spurs GCT. Tottenham hamstring. Tottenham hamstring. There you go. FC strikes again. Yes, mate. Listen, I don't know what's going on with hamstrings this year. I don't know if it's the VAR. I don't know if it's the World Cup last Christmas that destroyed everyone's fitness. I don't know if it's too many games. I don't know what's going on, but hamstrings are not just happening at Tottenham. In fact, I put out a tweet earlier. I asked everyone who saw it to retweet it as well to try and get it out to broader sections of the fan base. Who has had the worst impact? Who's been most impacted by absentees from their first team? And I specifically said absentees because I wanted Tottenham not to overlook suspensions. But at the moment, it's like 90% Tottenham, a couple of percent to Chelsea, a few percent to Newcastle, Manchester United, and I think are the top 4. Interesting. Look, it is happening again, guys. It is happening again. Look, I want to say hello to everybody. What's going up? What's going on? Shawnee boy, Benny Kaufman's in the house. I'm about to spend a lot of money, Ben, on a coffee machine, mate. The one that you recommended. I'm thinking about it. Every time I go to pull the trigger, like something stops me, and then I don't do it. But I'm getting closer to the trigger pulling experience. So listen, look, let's get straight into it. Let me bring up my my stuff here. What are we doing? That's not what I want to see. I want to see. This is the one we do it with, something like that. Let's go to. Why isn't this showing the right screen? Is it showing the right screen? It's not showing the right screen. Hang about. Stop sharing that. Let's share it again, shall we? Present, share screen. All right. Add it to stage. Can you see this? Can you see this okay, guys? we've got. I've liked a few tweets here because I want to get through some stuff. I'm gonna show you through the tweets that I've liked, and then we're going to get into some of the incidentals of transfer news, views, and clues stuff. Starting with Fabrizio Romano's bad news for Tottenham. Christian Romero will be out for 4 to 5 weeks due to hamstring injury. Romero has had a scan and he's got a hamstring strain. We're looking at 4 to 5 weeks with him. Postecoglou confirms. Guys, it is what it is. I don't necessarily think it really affects us that much against Brighton. I personally think that what's going to determine the Brighton outcome is how well we handle the midfield. If we're going to continue to deputize Ollie Skip, then it might be an issue. But for me, I think that we've got enough about us to be able to handle the Brighton situation as long as we can keep the ball. And my question marks around keeping the ball are around Ollie Skip. I think he's very handy at getting back and doing slide tackles. Defensive tackles from Ollie Skip are. Are you talking to me? You can shut up. Defensive tackles from Ollie Skip are, generally speaking, one of the best parts of his game. It's just whether or not he gives the ball away. And if he gives the ball away too much against, why are you seeing two of me? What on God's green earth is happening here? I mean, two of me is a good thing. It's not a problem, is it? But anyway, I think that we can handle it. Emerson Royale coming in, but we're going to talk about that. But we're going to talk about the Brighton game. I want to talk more about some of the other news that's coming out beforehand, guys. And that starts and finishes, doesn't finish. It starts with this noise about Radu Dragusin. Can you see this on the screen? I'm not sure if you can. Of course you can't. Everything's gone a mess. Here we go. Radu Dragusin, according to reports, ladies and gentlemen, from Gazzetta Italia, Gazzetta dello Sport. Justin, central defender Radu Dragusin is now close to a Tottenham Hotspur transfer ahead of January. Spurs are willing to pay significantly more than Atalanta and Barcelona to ensure they sign Genoa centre-back. I want to just scoot forward a little bit here because there's more news out from Paul O'Keefe that says Tottenham have 6 centre-backs on their list. They will decide who is their number one target and go from there. If they haven't already decided who their number one target is, then I fear that Tottenham are going to have problems because we are 4 days away from the window opening. I was really hoping that we would see a Cody Gakpo to Liverpool style thing going on here, ladies and gentlemen. I was really hoping. Why is that not focusing? Focus. Are we focused yet? Now we go. I was really hoping we were going to see Tottenham agreeing it's done by the 29th and it was going to come in on the 1st. That's what we're all hoping for, right? We all want to see someone come in on the 1st. We all hope it's going to be a centre-back. The first most important one is a centre-back. Ange Postecoglou said today in his press conference, ladies and gentlemen, he said, I'm not a big fan. I'm not someone who buys into that left centre-back, right centre-back thing. If you buy someone who's good enough, they can play both sides, which I think is something that Dave Irish Hotspur says quite a lot, actually. He's just, if you're good enough, you should be able to adapt. I personally do think that if you're playing a high line, personally, I think if you're someone who's right foot dominant, it doesn't necessarily matter what side you're better at, but I do think your dominant foot has an impact. If you are a left-footed, left-sided centre-back, it's better than having a right-sided, a left-sided, right-footed centre-back, simply because I think that you close your body off to the open, broader kind of park when you have a right-footed, left-sided centre-back or a left-footed, right-sided centre-back. In any event, Radu Dragusin, according to Gazzetta dello Sport, is the choice. Let's work out together. Let me get some of these thoughts up now. They did. It's Todibo is one of the guys. Dragusin is the other. I would imagine that the other names, who else was like Ben Godfrey from Everton. Like, please, Ben Godfrey, don't let it be him. For the love of Godfrey, let's not hope it's him. This guy, for me, is just not good enough. He was good 4 or 5 years ago, injury prone, and then hasn't been able to kind of really materialize and kind of get himself back into the team. I think he's clumsy. I don't think he's very good in the air. And if Ben Godfrey is one of the targets, then I think we're going to sign up to a 4-year problem with that one. Let me know your thoughts. With Radu Dragusin, if he's the guy, Well, then look, I'm going to have to show. Let's have a look at his stats, right? I've done a lot of videos about Radu Dragusin, and I'm not saying that he's not the guy. Like, I'll always get behind a new signing and say how I feel about it, or back him, back the manager, back the player. However, whenever I've watched him, I've never felt like he is. Where's it gone? View complete scatter. Why? What's going on today, Sean? You're all over the place. I don't personally think that Radu Dragusin is as good as the press reports are about him. I think he has the greatest PR. Like an owl. An owl has wonderful PR, right? Like they put it on front of books. It's thought about being an owl's thought of being wise and knowledgeable. Really, just a fat bird, right? A bird that sleeps in the day and goes out at night and hunts mice and things. But it has much better PR than a pigeon or a seagull. I kind of feel like with Radu Dragusin, it's a PR exercise. I feel like he is a little bit better. It's not harsh on owls, mate. It's not harsh on owls. Owls, listen, tell me what it is that's great about owls, Tequila. Tell me what's so special about them. All they are, they can see well. They can see pretty good, right? They're not as good at seeing as like the birds of prey. They're not hanging around up in the clouds doing their business. They sit on treetops and they go about doing their thing at night. Congratulations, but they've got wonderful PR. Wonderful PR. And I think Radu Dragusin has got better PR than he is worth. I genuinely worry a little bit. He's a big, strong, strapping lad. He's very competent at pinging balls. He's very, very competent at pinging balls. Like, long balls from him are fantastic, but I don't think we do that very often in this system. So what's great about him? Well, I don't think his first touch has been extraordinary from what I've seen. I think he's a little bit clumsy. I think he's a little bit heavy-footed. And I worry a little bit about it. I don't necessarily think he's great. Let's have a look at his stats to see if the stats match up. I mean, the stats are improving all the time for what it's worth. The last time I looked, they weren't good. But look, we're not really caring about whether he's in the 72nd percentile versus centre backs for scoring a goal. He scored 1 goal. Let's look at what matters. What's your passing like, Radu? Not great. He's not a great passer of the ball. In fact, this suggests his long passes are terrible. I mean, that doesn't strike up to what I've seen on Y-Scout, but his passing is not sensational. Let's have a little look-see at what else we need from him. His defensive actions. I'm not sure. This can't be accurate, can it? This cannot be accurate. I'm not sure this is the same set. I think there might be something wrong. This is the same Radu Dragusin from over the last 365 days. It is. His stats were not that bad before. No chance. They're saying that he's in the bottom 1 percentile for dribblers challenged. Yeah, I think there's a problem with AH refs, because I'm pretty sure when I've looked at him before, he was never that bad. Otherwise, I would have scalded the idea. Either way, from what I've seen from the seeing eye test, he is. I don't know. I don't think he's not going to excite me like Mickey van der Ven did. Let's put it that way. Is Dragusin fast? Says Lee. He's not. He's not blessed with blistering pace. I wouldn't say he's slow. He's definitely not slow. I've seen him get out of trouble, but I don't think he is. I don't think he's up there with the fastest. But I'm a little bit worried if that's the guy we're going for. Obviously, we all want Jean-Claire Todibo, but Todibo, Todibo. I don't think it's going to happen. I think that I've always said this. I think so Jim Ratcliffe has signed officially now with Manchester United. Now, according to the people that were on the commentary team for the Manchester United Aston Villa game last night, the commentary team said Sir Jim Ratcliffe cannot influence any major decisions until they get approval from the Premier League. And that's going to take 4 to 6 weeks. But then in other news today, I think Romano said he's going to be involved in all of the major decisions, whether that's about Ten Hag's future, whether that could be about purchasing. But I'm not entirely sure if the money that's made available from the takeover can be utilized until the deal is ratified by the Premier League. In any event, I still think that Jean-Claire Todibo will stay at Nice until the end of the season, and I think he will join Manchester United in the summer. So as much as I really want him, you get excited about it. Radu Dragusin for me, and I'm not sure those stats are accurate because I'm certain they weren't that bad before. And look, he is an old school. He's more of an old school kind of typical bruising centre back, but still not something that I'm particularly interested. Let's see what you guys are saying. With all due respect, you said Mickey was going to be terrible too when that rumor came out. What? No, I didn't. Did I? I don't think I did. I think what I said was I wasn't too familiar with him. I would never have said that because I don't know who he is. I didn't know too much about him. It was Jacob from United Spurs of America that put me onto him. I'm sure I never said that Mickey Van Ven was going to be terrible. That's an absolute fallacy, and I don't believe it for a second. Evening in a coma. How you doing, my man? Sheffield Wednesday, like how? See another team. Yeah. See what are they using owl? What's that got to do with it? It doesn't make any sense. Who do you want at Spurs from Adrian? From Adrian. Who do you want at Spurs from Adrian? Are you talking to Adrian? Who's Adrian? Is Adrian in the house? Not sure. Who do you want at Spurs? Who do I want at Spurs? From Adrian. You're Adrian. I get it. I would like, listen, Todibo for me, and I'll tell you the other person I wouldn't mind going for, guys, is I think Tosin Adarabioyo has been really, really impressive since he come back from injury. For me, one of the reasons why I was a little bit skeptical, I was like, you never know when you come back from a serious injury like he's had. You just never know what sort of player, if they're going to be injury prone, do they come back the same sort of player? He had a surgery, had an operation, but he's come back and absolutely been pivotal in Fulham's recent rise. And I know Fulham are now kind of on the tail end of that and going back down to earth a little bit, but Tosin still is putting in good performances. I don't mind Tosin Adarabioyo coming in. I really don't. I think he'll be okay. Obviously, when you hear about Todibo, you start to go, that's the guy. That's the guy you want, especially if it's plausible. But for me, I don't think that's going to happen anyway. Tosin Adarabioyo isn't a bad alternative. Who else? Look, I've said it before. Ange Postecoglou is obviously just now saying that he doesn't really want a left. He doesn't care too much about whether it's left foot, left-sided, right-sided. Just get someone in that's good enough and they'll learn to adapt. And if that's what he wants, then who am I to say otherwise? Like I said at the start, I do personally think that which side you're dominant on in your foot does impact your ability to open the play. But I do think that there's a few players out there that we're looking at who are somewhat held back by the team that they're playing in. Let's talk a little bit about Dominic Solanke. I want to ask you guys, Dominic Solanke, right? Just quickly, just to pivot away from the centre backs for a second, because I put this video out 2 days ago about Dominic Solanke, and a load of you lot in the comments, or some people in the comments, were like, Sean Butler is advocating the sale of Richarlison to sign Dominic Solanke. What has the world come to? Dominic Solanke's useless. At first, I wasn't saying that. However, all that being said, I do think that Dominic Solanke is a better all-round footballer than Richarlison. I think Richarlison is good at heading, and I think he is okay at finishing, and I think he's a passion merchant. But a little bit of a purple patch doesn't change my opinion of the player. I'm really happy. I'm delighted that he scored 4 goals in 3 games. I really hope it continues, and I hope that it will bring more people out of the woodwork who have been waiting to say I was wrong about Richarlison, because I've been right for the last 18 months. But Dominic Solanke, for me, I don't want him because he'll cost too much money to get him. But as a footballer, he is, in my opinion, far, far, far better as an all-round footballer than Richarlison. But I do want to know your takes. And I'm guessing everyone in the comments is going to say, you're absolutely talking out your nonsense, Sean. Richarlison is a better footballer. Let me know. Let's see what's going on at this point. Richie is better than Solanke, says Gamer. Okay. Do you think if Solanke was Brazilian, he would be starting over Richarlison in the Brazil team? Yeah. Yeah, I do. I absolutely do. Yeah, 100%. I don't know what the Brazilian team thing has to do with it. Brazil are a shadow of the team that they were 10 years ago, and Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the love of Richarlison as a footballer is. He's good in the air. He's good at a couple of bits, and I like him as a person. I really do, and I really want him to succeed. I want him to be happy. I want him to be healthy. I want to get our money's worth. But I don't think he's a particularly good football player. I really don't. But he scored 4 goals in 3 games, and that's fantastic. He scored 8 goals in 18 months. Still not good enough for a £60 million, £55 million player. I'd take Solanke if the price wasn't a factor. 100%. Yeah. So like when it's like I said on these videos, right? If you align the two kind of multiplier effects of homegrown, which immediately adds 20% to your value, maybe 25%, and the fact that you're a striker and the strikers are in short supply and high demand, another 20%, 25%, then you get 50% on top of whatever your true value is. If his true value is 35, 40 million, 45 million, then you're going to pay 65 million for him. And that's according to the reports that I read, and it makes sense to me. So, but I don't want to spend that money on him, and I don't think it will happen anyway. I really don't. Santiago Jimenez for me. I do think we need to have a discussion though about homegrown. Like let's think about this for a second. Your homegrown talent pool that Tottenham have outside of the youth is Ollie Skip, Ben Davies, Ryan Sessegnon, Brennan Johnson, Fraser Foster, and James Maddison. Pape Sarr joins that list in a year's time. But Destiny Udogie comes out of the youth team and goes to the non-homegrown list in the next season. So Tottenham are going to have to find a way to level up their homegrown numbers if the youth team are not kind of like stepping up. And there's no one who's 21, 20 in the youth team that's ready to really be a part of the first team squad. So we need to go. I think that Tottenham are keeping their eye on a youth team player. A homegrown player. And there's loads that we're looking at. Illing Jr. would count as homegrown. The player at Blackburn, look, we're thinking about going back and getting. There's a player at Hull that we're talking about. I forget his name. Calvin Phillips. Conor Gallagher. What about Kyle Walker-Peters, guys? We've got a buyback clause on Kyle Walker-Peters for £30 million. I know he plays for Southampton right now, but he can play on the left. He can play on the right. He's played inverted. He understands the game, the system. Would any of you guys be willing to look at Kyle Walker-Peters to bring in as a backup to both Udogie and Pedro Porro? Let's have a look. Illing Jr. is supposed to be an Arsenal fan. Well, so was James Maddison. Adam Wharton, that's it. Cheers, boxing. Appreciate that, mate. Brandon Austin and Alfie Whiteman. Yeah, well, what are we doing there? What are we doing? These guys aren't kids. They're like, what are they? Brandon Austin, they both must be 26, 27. Like, they got to go and find their own career somewhere else. They have to go on loan to or permanent move for the good of their own career. What are they doing? Hanging around at Tottenham. They're never going to be a part of Tottenham's squad. That much is absolutely clear. So why we're keeping them because they're homegrown? It's a madness. Absolute madness. Video complete. Sofian is saying Solanke can be another Richarlison. What does that mean? In another player that's one that doesn't turn up. I think there's a player in Solanke. I really do. I think he's fast. I think he can play with both feet. I think he's got really good footballing IQ. I just don't agree. When I saw 99% of you in the comments yesterday, we were all like, absolutely not. It's like you start to go, well, damn, if the weight of a public opinion is so violently the other side of yours, then you're probably wrong, right? But I don't know. That's why I wanted to ask you guys again. Is it because you don't like the player or you don't like it at the valuation? I don't know. Morton Barley here with the super chat saying need players that fit the ethos, not the budget. 100%. You know, you need players that want to buy in, that want to get on board the situation, and that are talented but also clever. I think one of the most important thing that we've overlooked so much of is the mental side of the game. I think in Pedro Porro we stumbled across a player. If we didn't look into Tanguy Ndombele's mentality, before we signed him, and we've committed ourselves to a 6-year, £200 million disaster, which is what it is, then I don't think we would have necessarily changed that rhythm and thought about that stuff since. Maybe we have, maybe we haven't. I don't know how easy it is to understand the kind of the psychology of a player unless you really know them that well. But I do think with Pedro Porro, we stumbled across by chance a player who happens to have, alongside his technical excellence, a monster mentality. And I think that should now be the kind of benchmark, the template. Like, if you're going to sign a player, then like you'd hope that Ange Postecoglou is the last in a long line of pivots from philosophy to philosophy to philosophy, from formation to formation and back again. And you hope that at least now you found the guy that you want to go for, and whoever's next should at least be a continuation of the same philosophy. So there's less square pegs in round holes. However, for me, you need to make sure that if you do need to have pivots and dynamism in the kind of in the system, like versatile players, part of that versatile box ticking exercise is a check on their mental kind of competence, how clever they are, how adaptable they are, how passionate they are, how invested they are. And I think that in someone like Pedro Porro, we've clearly found that, and it's a guy who is who's I think been one of the best, if not the best, right back in the Premier League this year. Shout out to Morton Barley, mate. I hope you got your internet sorted and you're back online. Obviously, you are. Glad to see it, mate. Glad to see it. Guys, I wanted to... Is Solanke a one-hit donkey? Make sure your glasses are not on wonky. I think... I don't think he is. I think he's some wines take longer to mature. Some cheeses take a little bit longer. You know, I think he's 26 years old, but I think Bournemouth are starting to sort of turn their own key. Bournemouth are starting to move from a team that was just looking to stay into the Premier League, sort of like what Burnley had done. Burnley have made the mistake in thinking they can just come up and continue what they were doing against lower level and continue that philosophy. And it should be, and it will just, we'll figure it out. And they haven't been able to. I think Burnley will go straight back down again. And maybe they'll come back straight back up again in 2 years' time. But hopefully then they'll have learned the lesson that at some point you need to go from being the best in a pond to the worst in an ocean or a sea or whatever you want to call it, a bigger water receptacle. And then you need to adapt, right? You need to, first of all, survive. You need to be able to build, survive, restructure, protect what you have, and then just work your way through the system like Bournemouth have done brilliantly. Bournemouth came up for the first 2 or 3 years. For the first 2 years, they were trying to hang in there, stay around, be a participant in the process. And they got an ambitious owner in who turfed people out. Scott Parker went, etc. They moved players out, they moved managers out. But now they've been here a little while. Now they're starting to just turn that dial and go, okay, now we can start to create our own philosophy. And they're trying to start to play better football. And I think that Dominic Solanke has been a participant in the patient process of that, which is why people might not recognize or rate him as good, because he hasn't done that spectacularly well. But he hasn't done it in a team that has struggled to be a participant in good football. This year, they're starting to dial it, and look what they're doing. Look what they're capable of. I think Nuno Espirito Santo is going to do, or try to do, something similar at Nottingham Forest. This is their second or third season, is it? Second season in the Premier League. And they're now trying to survive, but Steve Cooper took them to a point as far as they could go. And Nuno's come in and he wants to go, okay, well, let's see what sort of vision do we have here? What do you want to be? What sort of identity do you want to have? And I don't know whether Nottingham Forest will figure it out in time to stay up. But you know, they got a very fast team, Nottingham Forest, a good team that can counter attack. And with a few tweaks and a little bit of patience, they too can also start to dial in their own identity. I think it's part of the process for most of these teams that come up and stay up. Brighton did it, Brentford did it. But yeah, anyway, I'm going off the point. Dominic Solanke for me is a very good player. I don't know why I went off on that random rant, but Dominic Solanke is a very good player. What's Boxing saying? Watkins and Buemo, Bowen, Tony, these types of players become different players in their mid-20s. Have become, 100%. 100%. I mean, Mbeumo's an absolute beast. I would love him. I'd pay over the odds for Mbeumo. I think that guy is absolutely insane. Ollie Watkins is interesting. I want to keep an eye on what's happening at Aston Villa. You know, the fact that they gave up points to Sheffield, was it Sheffield United a couple of days ago? And then they were 2-0 up against United, and then they lose 3-2. Has the shimmer come off that whole process? Are they starting to doubt themselves now? Has the additional pressure, because before they were just flying under the radar, and then they found themselves with the opportunity to go top twice and they didn't take it. You know, what's going on there? Is it all a little bit too much too soon? Or Aston Villa now is gravity going to come back and bring them back down to earth? Interesting. Spurs Live saying, Sean, smashing the content, mate. Appreciate that, buddy. Appreciate that, mate. So this is the first live stream I've done for ages by myself. I haven't done a live stream by myself for months. So it's quite it's a bit unusual to me. So that's why I'm a little bit ranty, a little bit kind of waffly. But I do want your guys' help as we go through the rest of the show. We're going to be talking about Brighton. I've got a few more stories to talk about before then. Madsy saying, Sean, I saw your video on Scarlett being recalled, and unfortunately, since he played for Ipswich and Tottenham in the Carabao, he can't be sent out for another loan. That's a really good point. Something I forgot. Very good point. So he is here. Actually, I saw in the pre-match press conference, I think it was Alistair Gold, actually, who asked him about now that Scarlett's coming back, does that mean that Veliz is going to go out on loan? And Ange was like, there's too many moving parts there for your question for me to give you a straight answer. But Dane has to come back now and just filter in and see if there's an opportunity. I'd be very surprised if there's an opportunity for Dane Scarlett, unless we get more injuries. I really would. I really hope that Tottenham sign a striker or a forward. It's so important, guys, isn't it? So important. Let me see if I can get the team up. Actually, let's finish off what I was talking about. So, sorry, guys, I'm going all over the place here. There's no chance I'm going to be able to cut this up and put it into segments because I'm all over the place. But Radu Dragusin, let's be honest, if you're looking at stats, this isn't the guy, is it? If this is accurate. I'm not sure it is, because the last time I looked at his stats, I did a video on them and they weren't anything like as bad as this. So I don't know if this is like just suddenly updated over the last couple of weeks, or if this is just a misinformation. But I don't remember him looking this bad on paper. What I would say, though, is when I have looked at him play on Y-Scout, I think he's very good at certain things. He's an old school defender. He's a big, strong, clever, positional play, good in the air, can tackle, and he can ping long balls. But I always felt he was clumsy. I think the negatives were like a bit sloppy. His first touch let him down. So if we do sign him, if he's the guy we're going for on January 1st, I'm not going to be massively impressed or massively overhyped about it. Let's get back to some of the other stuff I wanted to show you on Twitter, guys. Keep smashing the like button for me, guys. If you just joined, hit the subscribe as well if you haven't already. Trying to get to 20,900 would be awesome. Does this come up on screen? Have I got it up on screen? I have got it up on screen, haven't I? Yep, cool. 6 centre backs on their list. Who would the 6 centre backs be? It would be Radu Dragusin. It would be Jean-Claire Todibo, Ben Godfrey, possibly Jared Branthwaite, who's never going to come to Tottenham, Tosin and Lloyd Kelly. Are those the 6, or am I missing others? Am I missing other names out, guys? Am I forgetting about other centre backs we've been linked with? Pleasure to see you stream. Oh, pleasure to see you seeing me stream. I appreciate your appreciation, Hennessy. I love it, mate. Good to see you guys. Good to see you. Mark Guehi. Yeah, I saw something yesterday. Oh, Morato as well. Shout, Maisie. Mark Guehi, I don't think he's coming. I'm pretty sure I saw something yesterday saying that the Crystal Palace have said, it's going to take a monumental bid. As I say, for me personally, I rate him as a player. I get called out about this all the time. I get called out by a load of people because they don't listen to what I'm saying. When I say Mark Guehi's overrated, that doesn't mean that I don't think he's a good player. Right? It just means that I think that he isn't as good as his valuation. Like I would say, if Dominic Solanke is £80 million, then he is overrated. If Mark Gahey is £75 million, £70 million, then he is overrated. I think he's clumsy. I think his positional sense leaves a lot to be desired. I think he's a very good centre back, but I think that it's more about other people at Crystal Palace that in the back four that have handled their excellence. I think Joaquin Anderson is unbelievable. I think is it Tirick? Is that his name? I think he's a brilliant left back as well. I just think that Mark Gahey's a very good player, but people put him on this level like he's just below Saliba or just below Gabriel or just below Van der Ven or whatever. And I'm like, what are we doing? It's far too much. Far too much to pay for a player like him, even though he is homegrown. If we got him, I'd get behind it, but I'm not that interested. Morato, this is the guy from Benfica, right? Yeah, looked into him. Don't know too much about him. I prefer his partner, Antonio Silva. Silva for me is the guy. If you're going to spend a lot of money on a Benfica fullback, a centre back, you go for Morato. You go for Silva, but I don't think you're going to get him. I don't think you'll get Morato either. But I spoke to people that live in Portugal, and they tell me that Morato is excellent and an absolute beast that's waiting to kind of spread his wings. And when they say that sort of stuff, I'm like, all right, fair enough. I'm just judging. I don't watch Portuguese football very often, so when I'm looking, I'm just looking at what I see on Y Scout. And like I always say, my opinion is literally based on what I've seen. And if I haven't seen very much of the players, then I'll check them out on Y Scout, dig into their everything real in segments, compartmentalize the opinion, and then come up with a solution. And my solution for him is he's all right. It looks good, but I don't know. Talking Bear, big up Sean. Big up Talking Beer. Hello? You talking to me? Hello? Good to see you, mate. Dragusin rumours are getting louder. £27 million. All right, let's do it then. I'm okay with it. Like I say, I feel like there's something there. If he's either got the best PR in the world, guys, or I've missed something and the stats have missed something. But not that. I just need someone in, mate. Losing Romero, losing Van der Ven, Ben Davies, Eric Dyer, and Royale. Imagine if something happened tomorrow to Royale or Ben Davies. You know, it's threadbare, isn't it? It's absolutely, it's incredibly threadbare. Would you not be happy with Jota, Sean, on a free, versatile? Yeah, I like Jota. I do like Jota. But I'd rather get him on a loan, mate, if I'm entirely honest. Like, I don't think he's played very much football. Similar with Calvin Phillips. Similar with quite a few players that we're linked with. I'd rather get us on a loan, get these players in on a loan, see what's going on. You know, options to buy. You don't want to commit to 4 or 5 year deals for players that just haven't really haven't done it. My hairline is suddenly. What do you mean? What do you mean my hairline's receding? What we doing here? Really? I mean, I don't know about that. I don't know. When you got a stream, you got a stream. Harry Maguire incoming. No, please no. Never going to come. Sean, all other leagues are on Christmas break, and we should be bringing the defender now before the window opens to be ready for the 5th of Jan. What happens on the 5th of Jan? Haven't we got Burnley? Hang on a second. Let's have a look. Tottenham. We got Brighton tomorrow, Bournemouth on the 31st. Yeah, Burnley on the 5th. And then we're hoping that. Let me get this up for us. Let's have a look. Can we see this? Yeah. So we are hoping that Van der Ven. So when is this big break we're talking about? So 5th, and then we got 2 weeks between the Burnley game and not 2 weeks. We've got 1 week, but it's Friday to Sunday to Manchester United, and then the break happens. Okay, so in reality, then what we are just hoping to get through. If we can get through tomorrow night, and we can get through Bournemouth and Burnley and Man United, 4 games, and then that additional 2 weeks. Are we saying, guys, that by Brentford, we should definitely have Mickey van der Ven back? And we should have... Are any of the other players looking back? Sessegnon will be back by then, hopefully. Sessegnon should be back by then. Van der Ven should be back by then. If he's out for 4 to 5 weeks, if Romero's out from 4 to 5 weeks, then that's about here, somewhere around here is Romero too. So by Brentford or Everton, we could have a full strength backline. Am I right in thinking that, guys? Let me know. Sessegnon's rubbish. Yeah, I know he's rubbish. I know he's rubbish, but you know, it's just nice to get options back. Van der Ven back possibly for Manchester United. That's good. When's Madders? Madders is back too, is he? By what, middle of Jan, late Jan? By that kind of 2-week break. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4 games to get through. When's the 4th round of the FA Cup? Can anyone tell me that? 4th round of the FA Cup. 4th round of the FA Cup is Friday, 27th of Jan. Between Friday the 27th and the 30th of Jan. So I'm guessing that then means that if we were to qualify for it, then Brentford would be rescheduled. All right, so we got 4 games. We can handle 4 games, can't we, guys? We can handle 4 games. Yeah. Oh, big up, Brian Dagel. If you want to come and join me, mate, more than welcome. Send me a text message, buddy. Lee Smithy Smith. Good to see you, mate. Merry Christmas. Hope you're well. Flat Cat Pete is doing a stream on New Year's Eve. Big up, Flat Cat. All right, let me get back to what I wanted to show you guys. Let's get back to what's going on in the rumour mill. Share the screen instead. All right, Tottenham have opened talks with a loan with an obligation formula for Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg to leave for a sum of less than 30 million. Juventus have always been in the market for Hojbjerg. Hang on, Brian's just texted me. Oh, Brian wants to come and join. Okie dokie. Give me a second, guys. We'll get the Dagelometer on. Where is he? Here he is. This man hasn't been on my stream for a long time. Good to get him back. Yeah, where were we? Tottenham have opened up to a loan with obligation. Juventus have always been in the market for Hojbjerg, and there have already been contacts with intermediaries between September and October. To let him leave, Spurs will have to look for a replacement, and that's Morik92, who has 24,000 subs, who works for Tutto Mercato Juventus. I don't know how much we're taking. Are we on board that one, guys? Let us know in the comments. Are we on board with letting PEH out? Has checked out last home game. Yeah, listen, it's interesting. I'm interested to know why it was that we went with Ollie Skip, and I think we're going to go with Ollie Skip again tomorrow. Well, even though we haven't done the kind of the predicted 11 yet, I feel like we're going with Skip for a reason, and I think that must be, to your point, Brian Brown, that must be because of Pierre's intentions to not want to get injured. He wants out. Liston Hines is saying sell Hojbjerg for 25 million, buy Gallagher for 45 million. We could spend a net 20 for Connor, can't we? Listen, I get so much heat for my admiration of Conor Gallagher. I think Conor Gallagher is a perfect fit for this system. That being said, I did watch him play in the Wolves game, and he was absolutely atrocious. But one swallow does not make a summer. And for me, if you are looking for a player that fits the system, fits the model, then I think he is someone that that can come in and do a really good job. Really good job. We got United Spurs from America here. Big up, Jacob. How you doing, mate? Big up, buddy. Do you want to come on as well? We can turn this into a stream. People are texting. People want to come on. And about. Let me sort this out. Big up, Sean. I think the biggest need is a backup keeper. Forrest hasn't done a thing. Oh, Foster hasn't done a thing. Well, listen, I think Fraser, it terrifies me. Here's a scenario that I don't want to ever manifest, but I'm going to say it anyway, and God forbid God forbid it comes true. But remember that Chelsea game when we played a 9-man high line, halfway line, offside trap. One of those long balls that got put through where Vicario decides to come out and slide tackle. He gets one of those wrong. We were without Vicario for 3 games. Can you imagine how difficult it would be to have to do Angelo with Fraser Foster? Let me ask that question straight to Brian Dagel. Big up, Brian. How are you, my man?
I am very, very good, my brother. Long time no see. How are you?
Yeah, good, buddy. Good. Thanks for coming on, mate. Thanks for coming on. You know what? I haven't done a live stream solo for ages. It's an effort. It's like it's exhausting, if I'm honest. I need to get back into the swing of it. It's like I thought it was like riding a bike, but it really isn't. It's like playing darts. You know, you have to keep the rhythm up, keep the cadence, and otherwise you fall out of your kind of comfort zone a little bit. How's things with you, mate?
Things are good, mate. Things are good. Getting up at 3 o'clock every single morning Toronto time to do cockerel doodle do has become.
Yeah, why are you doing that? Why don't you just change the time of cockerel doodle do?
Because I do it for the English time zone. So I'm like, you know what? And it's like if I had a job here that was overnight shift, isn't it? But I needs must until I can find a stable job. So I do what I have to do.
Fair enough, mate. Exactly what we've got to do in life. You have to do what you got to do in life, mate. Congratulations on. I see your channel's growing very quickly as well. So richly deserved, my man. Richly deserved. Listen, let me ask you some quick questions, buddy.
Let's do it.
Let's cover the ground we've already covered, so I can catch you up. Hojbjerg, first and foremost, wants to go to Juve.
Yep.
I think from what it looks like, loan deals with options or obligations. I get annoyed with this constant loan deal thing.
Yep.
If you're going to let go of Hojbjerg, you need to get some money in, don't you?
Yeah, Sean, I'm with you with this one. I said when we heard about Regulon maybe going out to Germany, was what a rumor I think a week or two ago. I kept saying, why is it that we keep loaning these players out and bringing them back, as opposed to saying it's not working, you're going, we're going to sell you. Their contracts are just getting running down. Any chance of getting any particular payment for them is running down. Hojbjerg will have 12 months at the end of this season. Most important thing, if he wants to join Juve, is we were said that obviously he can go if there is a midfield replacement ready to come in.
Yeah,
that replacement needs to be in before we say goodbye to him.
And who is your replacement of choice,
mate? Do you know what?
I want to throw some names at you. Quick, hot fire, right?
Go on.
Zubamendi.
I don't know enough about him, if I'm honest. So I couldn't really say.
Calvin Phillips.
No.
No.
Nope.
Conor Gallagher.
Nope.
Wow.
There's one I want. Now, at the moment, he doesn't play in this position. He's more progressive.
Hang on. Vermeeren.
Who?
Vermeeren from Antwerp, the 18-year-old monster, absolute class player.
Well, with you saying that, it sounds like you've endorsed him for me. So we'll see. But with an 18-year-old, is he coming in straight away? Is he good enough?
I think he's good enough to. Yeah,
okay,
he's the next Iniesta. The next.
If we're doing the air quotation marks, it's a definite yes. Definitely.
Go on. Who's the player that you fancy? Go on.
So the player I want, and I've been putting polls out on Twitter, and I've been mentioning him. At the moment, he's playing attack-minded, but I really think he can drop back and play deeper and convert. Is Morgan Gibbs-White?
Oh, I like Morgan Gibbs-White. I thought he was extraordinarily good the other night for Nottingham Forest.
I've been talking about him for a little while. I remember, if people go back far, when he made one of his first debuts, it was his home debut for Wolves in the game that Jan One-Fourth gave away 2 penalties. Morgan Gibbs-White tore us apart as a 17-year-old. Yep. I have been a big fan of his for a long time, and I would take him.
I think he cost Forest like 50 million quid, though, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, that's going to always be the stumbling issue.
How old is he?
He's 24 in a few days.
Oh, you know it. Oh, you actually know his date of birth.
Mate, when I go in, you got no. I know Alfie Devine's date of birth. Not that I stalk that
by the
man.
way, okay. I'm glad you reminded me of that because I've got a little. I like to tweet that shows him doing some magic for where he's at.
I've retweeted it against Barnsley.
Yeah. I'm going to show that to the panel to the audience in a minute. And I know you love him, so I want to get your thoughts on it. But let's stick on Morgan Gibbs White.
Yep.
That's not doable in January, is it? Forest are in a relegation battle right now. You know, are they going to give up their best player? But would you like him? Would you really like? Is it homegrown as well? So
yeah, I think you look at players and players convert into different positions and players learn to play different roles. I think if we're going to spend money, I'd rather go and do it properly and get the right guy in.
Do you think he could play as a 6 though? Is that what you? Is that you're suggesting?
I think eventually he could play anywhere in the middle. I honestly think he's that good. Don't get me wrong. You saw against Newcastle, he was
like a Conor Gallagher type. Yeah,
I think at the moment he's used. Don't get me wrong. His attributes attacking wise are a lot stronger than his defensive duties. But I think you can coach him into that. And we're talking right now that we're trying to find versatility forwards that could play across the line and do certain things. I think this guy can do it. He may not do it for us, Nottingham Forest right now. He may not have played there, but I think he can. And I think he's a wonderful player. I think he's an exceptional player.
Let me ask you about another player that you were championing the signing of last summer, and he ended up going to Bournemouth, and he had a torrid time. But he's just come back from injury, and he played. Was it last night? My memory's terrible.
Alex
Scott.
Yep.
Would you go again for him? He was phenomenal the other night.
This is the thing. I literally thought. I think, Sean, this might have been one of the last streams we did together or crossed over.
It's been a while, yeah.
Where I thought literally Spurs were going to do to Bournemouth what Liverpool did to us with Diaz. They were going to do the hard work, and then when the fee was set, we'd come in and swoop in because of his Tottenham affiliation. I really, really thought he would come in, but obviously we went down a different avenue, went down a different road, and it looked like this guy does pick up an injury, and let's just say we're casualty FC at the moment, aren't we? So it keeps happening, but this guy's got a big future, a big future. I think if you're trying to get him out of Bournemouth, you're probably spending more than Gibbs White right now, but he's going to be a wonderful talent.
Let me ask you about this fella from Denmark, Rooney.
Yep.
You know this guy?
I know of him. I've heard about it. I didn't get to watch a lot of the Champions League qualifiers. As much as I love watching the Champions League, with this year us being out and other teams being in, I just haven't had the time. And seeing that I had 11 months away from my wife, I just said, listen, love, sit down. I'm going to go watch a bit of football. I like my face the way it looks right now. So I've been always watching Tottenham. So I haven't seen a lot, but the reports I'm hearing are great. But it's making me feel a bit. Gift Orban was the whiz kid last summer. And
yeah.
This is the whiz kid or the wonder kid, as they say, for this window. We'll have to see. But this is the one that the one that Andrew said he wants to get done. Apparently, that we're hearing. Andrew said to one player yesterday that he is the main target that he wants. I can't remember, is it that player? I tweeted about it.
Ange said that Ange has already named the player that he wants to get done.
Yeah, or the Spurs Watch tweeted it yesterday. Was it him? Let me go to the Spurs Watch because I retweeted it. It was I can't remember the name of the player though. I think it was that Bargy guy. Is that Rooney?
Yeah, Bargy. Yeah. Rooney Bargy or whatever his name was. Yeah. This is the guy. Yeah. Look, I've looked into him. I never know how to value.
I'll read it to you very quickly, Sean. So this came from the source that this came from was Inter Live. So I don't know if they're reputable or but it says this was one day ago. The Spurs Watch and Postecoglou has explicitly requested to the board that the club signs Rooney Bargy in January. Bargy is represented by Base, who we obviously know have a good relationship with Tottenham. Alternatives to Rooney include Samuel Illing Jr. and Matthias Sule. But apparently, Ange has said this is the one.
All right, listen, I don't know how to value a player. I'm trying my best to get better with Y Scout. And I'm pretty confident with Y Scout now, understanding how to kind of measure value. I can compare players pretty well with it. But when it comes to like someone like him who's playing in Denmark, I have just exactly the same when you're looking at like a player from Brazil, a player from Argentina. We're linked with so many of these kids, so many of these guys. I have no idea whether or not when you see someone in the Danish league dribbling past 3 players and putting something top bins, whether you just go, well, that's amazing technique, but is he afforded that space in the Premier League? You know, it's similar to like the Championship. You know, how many players, Ollie Skip, excellent at the Championship level, hasn't really done it top level. Who was the other guy we signed? Jack Clark, right? Doing brilliant things now in the Championship. Couldn't do it for Tottenham. I don't know what level Denmark's first division is. And so I don't know whether this guy, and so all you have to go on then is his Champions League performances. And really people just point to the one goal that he kind of right hooked with his right foot into the ground and it popped top bins against Manchester United. But is that really enough of a sample size to say he's the guy you want to drop 20 million quid on and go for the next 5 years with? I just don't know, Brian. Well,
you look at it. If Andrews explicitly said this, then I know a lot of us saying we want who Andrews wants, but if this is what he has said he wants, then you would hope that it would get pulled off and Andrew's seen something in him. And let's face it, recently our transfer, our signings have been a lot better. It looks like there is some kind of plan being made. We'll find out this January. But to me, I've said, Sean, I'm judging this on speed of players coming in this window. And if he has said this is the one I want, then go do it. Go do it. But I agree with you. How can you say someone in the Danish first division? But then you look at it with Dele Alli, who would have thought a player in League One,
right? Or Alex Scott, right? So, and that's the thing. So you just don't know. There's so many examples of players that have transitioned and that have gone on, but there's so many that haven't. And I'm not gifted. I've never played football, right? So you know, I just use my eyes and use what tools are available to me, and I just don't know. I'm pretty sure I can figure out the level of French football, German football, Dutch football, but Scandinavian football, just not familiar enough with it. Brazilian football, don't watch it. Argentinian football, I've never seen it. So like you watch Alejo Veliz for whatever forget the name of the club that he came from. Looks amazing. He hasn't done a thing in Tottenham though, has he, mate? Let's be honest. Like he's. I know I'm not writing him off, and he needs so much more patience and time, of course. But you know, there's levels, right? He might be scoring goals in front of 100,000 people in Argentina, but that doesn't mean that the level of football is anything like the Premier League standard.
Agreed. Listen, what we got to look at is I've started to look at it thinking if this player, I don't even know what the cost of this guy would be. I don't know the numbers that they're talking about. But it's
£10 million apparently for this guy, Bargy.
Okay, so £10 million. Do you risk not getting this guy for 10 million? He goes to somewhere, let's say Italy or Germany, and absolutely blows it out of the water, and then becomes 80, 90, or not 80, 90, 50, 60, whatever, for the sake of 10 million.
Well, how old is he? What's his name? Rooney Bargy, right? Let's have a look. Bargy. Let's have a look. Rooney Bargy he's 18 years old. Okay, so he wouldn't. You could put him into the youth, so he wouldn't be taking up a homegrown spot. So maybe that's
that's the other part with it. Yeah,
you know, maybe that makes sense. But no, I want to let me pivot now because obviously forwards are very important. I think we need a forward, but clearly what's going on with our backline, mate, is disastrous. At least for the next month. Dragusin, Todibo, Jared Branthwaite at Everton.
I love him.
Ben Godfrey, Lloyd Kelly, Tosnada Abayo. Talk me through your thoughts on this.
My dream would be Branthwaite. I think he's exceptional. I think he's Everton, like they did with John Stones. They seem to have a knack of finding these centre backs. I think this guy is at the very, very top. I think this guy, we're talking once he gets into the England team, He's going to be not saying he's the levels off, but he's going to become a stalwart like Terry and Ferdinand. I think he's that good. I would do anything I could to get him in the football club, anything. But obviously, we are talking huge money, which we're not going to. We're not paying it. And I don't think. Let's just say, I don't think the Everton Tottenham Hotspur relationship is at the greatest it's ever been. So it ain't going to happen. I like the look of Todibo, and I like the look of the Romanian, but I can never say his name for some reason. It's one of those names. Dragusin. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, he's going to drag us into a title race, mate.
I see what you did there, mate. You see, you're easing yourself back in with these.
I'm trying to find it, mate.
I've just seen you've changed the chair. You're on a multicolored throne now.
Yeah, I borrowed it from Elton John.
Sean and the Technicolor Dream Chair is what we got here. I like the sound of Todibo. But again, like you said, the fact that this has been our injuries have been decimated, and as I turned on to start watching this stream, you're talking about the 5th of January, and you're saying why the 5th, and obviously you saw the FA Cup.
Yeah.
For me, it's imperative. Forget the Man U game. It is an imperative that a defender is in by then. You got to remember, we went out the Carabao Cup cheaply. This is let's face it, all right, we could be in a title race or not. I don't think we're going to win it. I don't think we're going to win it.
We're not in a title race, mate.
No, we're not. You know, I mean, people, technically, as it stands right now, points, whatever, you can play our Spurs in it. And technically, we are. Do I think we're going to win it?
Technically, we are, but are we? No, by March, April, probably not, right? But listen, if we hadn't have had the injury crisis, or if we had 30% of the injuries that we've had, then I think we might well have been.
Exactly. And what we've got to remember as well, Sean, is not only do I think we need him in because we cannot take this cup cheaply. I will go nuts for a change if we take this cup cheaply. If we don't give the respect to the FA Cup that it deserves.
Well, I think the difference is this time round, right? Like the FA Cup third round has its own weekend versus the Carabao Cup was midweek.
Yeah,
in between two fixtures. And the fourth round of the FA Cup, if you qualify for that, you'll reschedule that Premier League game against Brentford to a later point in time. So if you do qualify for it, the fact that we don't have any other European, it means that you don't have you still got a week break between this and that. So we should take it as seriously. But the Carabao, not that I'm on board with like deprioritizing the Carabao Cup on any level anyway.
Yep.
But the difference was, I think that was a Wednesday night game in between two fixtures, whereas this is its own Saturday fixture in and of itself.
No, you got a point there. But as you said, you look at it, Van der Ven and Romero, even when they do come back, whenever that may be, late January, early February, they got to get out their match fitness up. They've got to get that. They're not just going to come in, click right. They're both coming back from hamstrings. That's going to take a few weeks for them to get back to match fitness. Don't get me wrong. I still think once they're back together and 100%, that relationship and that partnership will be as effective as it was at the start. But it's not as easy as saying, right, they're back in February, they're back in January. Then you've got to wait a couple of weeks, match fitness. Then you've got to hope they don't pull up during training when they step up their rehabilitation.
Is that the same, though, if we sign a player, though, on January the 1st? Do you have to give him a couple of weeks to embed?
Well, you look at it. Yes, you do, ideally. We did it with Van der Ven, who stepped in for Brentford 4 days after signing. So I'd rather play a player with 3 days, 4 days experience than Dyer, especially if it's someone at the level of these players. Yes, it might take them a little bit longer to get used to Ange's system and Ange's fitness requirements, but they'll be able to defend.
Do we need two centre backs, Brian?
I think we do. Listen, what way do you want to look at this? We needed a third centre back in the summer. We needed another centre back in the summer. We didn't get it through. We went with Lloyd Kelly and then Chavela at the end. And you look at it now. You could say although you say that Ben Davies has been sensational for the games that he's had to be in.
He really has, hasn't he? I think everyone who's been hating on him needs to like take a breath.
He deserves credit, but this is the thing, Sean. I don't think he can do it all season. He needs. Do you remember with Jose when he played non-stop, and then obviously his form dipped? I don't. I think Ben Davies needs help. Obviously, when Van der Ven's back, that's Van der Ven locked in, done. See you later, Ben. You're back on the bench.
Is it though? Okay, well, let me ask you that. If Van der Ven's back before before Romero is, which he will be, do you put Van de Ven on the right and Davies on the left, or do you put Royale next to Van de Ven?
Yeah, this is I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Van de Ven can play on the right side. I put it this way: I'd rather play Van de Ven and Davies and put Van de Ven on the right than any other alternative.
Would you put Davies on the right or Van de Ven on the right?
Van de Ven.
Because Davies definitely can't play on the right.
Yeah, because Ben Davies can't play on the right. I think Van de Ven's that good that he for a game or two.
That's an interesting one, that, isn't it?
It is. I think that.
And said in his press conference that he doesn't buy into this right side, left side thing. He says if you're good enough, you can play anywhere. Yeah. I'm not sure. I listen. What do I know? But I don't. I personally do think that the side that your foot is dominant, it does close off the pitch to, to the open. If you play on the left and you're left-footed, you open the pitch up. If you play on the left and you're right-footed, you will just like having a right-footed left back. You're more likely to cut inside, right? And close off options. So maybe it doesn't make a difference. And obviously, Ange knows a million times more than I do. He seems to be okay with it. So I think we might end up finding ourselves watching a back four with Van de Ven on the right, which will be an interesting experience.
Sean, you look at it with that. Van de Ven's game is all about pace and running back. So I don't think, because he'll outpace them anyway. And we've seen there was clips recently on social media as well saying how clean this guy is tackling and how kind and how quick Van de Ven is just an incredible player. An incredible. I cannot. I've had the joy. You're obviously going a lot more this season than you had other seasons. I went to a few away games before I came back to Toronto. Yeah, this man, when you see him on screen, is great. When you see him up front and personal and live, he's magnificent.
Yeah,
he's absolutely a beast, and I think he can play right. Don't get me wrong. As soon as Romero's back, he goes back on the left. But I think as we speak right now, if Van de Ven was fit right now, my centre back pairing would be Van de Ven and Davies.
Do you know what would be a fantastic quiz question? I think it's very easy to find left-sided centre backs that are dominant right foot, but can you find how many centre backs, how many starting right-sided centre backs in the Premier League are dominant left foot?
It's a great shout. It's a great
by the way, Brian, I wanted to invite you officially. I was going to text you, but then the show started. I was going to text you afterwards. Saturday evening, our time.
Yep.
We're doing the big fat Tottenham quiz of the year on this channel.
Okay.
I've got a few people already signed up. I've got Sim from We Are Tottenham. I think I've got Irish Hotspur. Hopefully, I'm getting Henry right in. I'd love to get you on board it as well. We're going to try and get either 4 or 6 or 8 people in. And
let me okay it with the wife. I don't see it being a problem, but I'll okay. I don't see it. What time are you thinking your time?
Might maybe 7 o'clock or something.
What, 2 o'clock my time? Yeah, I don't see that being a problem.
Awesome. I got this. This was my best. I don't want to show you the total name of the book, so no one can go off and find the answer.
I can just go now. Google the cover. I've got Tottenham quiz books. I normally do very well on quizzes, so yeah. No, I should be able to. I'll confirm with you, Sean, but I should be fine.
Nice. Just quick pause on the story for a second. Brad Hares. Shout out, mate, becoming a new member. I really appreciate you, buddy. But thanks very much for your support of the show. I'm going to be doing members. I've got all sorts of plans for 2024. Dedicated member streams, dedicated member content. Need to reward the loyalty more than I have done. I've been pretty bad about that stuff.
And Sean, I have to say to you very quickly, and I've said this to your face before, and I've said it to you, and I'll say it again. Your walks with Bugsy is probably the best morning YouTube. Honestly, I think you having a dog and taking the dog for a walk and using that to record, it's just genius.
It hasn't worked though. The whole reason I got the dog was to lose weight, and since I've had her, I put on 2 stone. So
no, but you gained 20,000 subscribers. So I say again, but which one? Yeah. But no, honestly, that content every morning I make sure I think it comes out afternoon my time. No, very early morning my time. It's honestly one of the best bits of YouTube content in the Spurs community.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate you, buddy. Really do. That's very nice of you to say. Listen, I got another name for you. I brought it. Someone's I can't speak. People keep mentioning it. This Aruna Sangonte, who's a Senegalese footballer who plays for Le Havre in the French Ligue 1. Have you come across this guy on your travels?
No, but I'll tell you a story. The last time we signed a Senegalese player from France, it turned out rather well. So when people say we don't want to sign any players from the Dutch league, if we found a Senegalese in the French league, I'm all for it.
Well, listen, I've looked into this fella. I'd never heard of him before. I looked into him. They call him what was the phrase? What was the phrase that they said on these videos? The warrior. The warrior is his name. Aruna Sangonte. Look, I've looked into him again on the Y Scout. I don't think he's for us. He's an absolute he's chaos. He's chaos. He just flies into the back of people. He loves sliding in and just like going with, if there's a loose ball, think of Romero and then put Romero times 3 or 4. This guy is what you've got. I don't know what his disciplinary record is. It might be, I'm sure it's probably bad. It should be bad from what I've seen. This guy is he just loves just absolutely breaking people to pieces. And yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about this one.
Yeah, it sounds like what you're describing to me sounds like an enforcer in ice hockey.
Yeah, exactly. He's an enforcer.
So, listen. What position is he? Midfield?
No, he's hang on a second. What is he? I think he's a centre back. He's a centre back or a defensive. Yeah, he's a defensive.
So what's that? Number 428 on the list that we've been.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, I think it's just loose. But the rumours are there that apparently Tottenham have already sorted it out. If that's the guy we've gone for, then it's wildly outside of left field. Completely outside left field. Mate, I don't know if there's any more news I wanted to talk about before we get into the Brighton things. The next thing, I don't know how long you've got, but I haven't actually done the.
As long as you need. I'm looking forward to the Alfie Devine clip.
Oh yeah, exactly. Let's get that up, shall we? Let's do that. Good shout.
Let's do my boy Alfie.
Let's go back to.
I've retweeted it, mate. So you find it on my Twitter.
I think it's here somewhere. It should be here. Profile, likes. Actually, there's a few more bits I haven't talked about. Have we done art of him? Oh, we haven't. Here he is. Here he is.
I didn't know about all this stuff.
What's that?
I didn't know you could do that stuff on Twitter. Profile, likes, blah blah. Thank you for the education.
No, yeah, just when you see something you want to talk about, just hit the like button and then go. Yeah, let's look at it again. Let's wait for it all loop around again in a second. Here we go. Oh, it's just
my quarterback.
Unbelievable. And there's another one. Ping it, baby. He's pinging it like an 18-year-old at Glastonbury. His jaw swinging left and right. On the pingers. Look at that. I mean, look. What level is Hull? It's Division 1? It's League 1, isn't it?
League 1 they're in. They're at Port Vale, League 1.
The geezer who's tweeted it says, lost in all the fallout from yesterday's shit show was the performance of Alfie Devine. He was by far the best player wearing white. Just give him some willing runners and watch him ping it. I really hope Tottenham let us keep him. Do you think that I haven't even looked if you've responded, mate, but I'm sure you have responded saying no chance you're keeping our star boy.
Mate, I've no, I didn't even. So I saw it from where I've retweeted it from was from a Twitter account called Tottenham Academy something.
Okay.
So I didn't see that. I've seen the video, but I hadn't seen that tweet. You will know more than most, Sean, how much I've waxed lyrical about this kid.
100%. Yeah, you've been talking about him since I've known you.
Yeah, literally since he signed, I've been waxing lyrical about him, and him going out on loan was one of the best things that could have happened. And I'm happy he actually went to League 1. People were saying to me, and I saw people saying he should have gone to a championship team. And I was like, do you know what? I don't think he should have. He should have gone League 1 because then at least he's going to get regular minutes, regular time. Who knows if he'd gone to a championship team like at Ipswich? Look at Dane Scarlett. Would they have risked playing him when the Premier League is at stake? He's magnificent. He's magnificent.
Is he our? Is he? Where do you think he sits in our pot of future gold in the ratios? I don't think Dane Scarlett's going to make it. If I'm on top, but he's had chances, right? I'm not saying that you write him off, because I know that Harry Kane was still doing similar sort of, level when he was 19. But Dane Scarlett's 19, and he has had chances. Harry Kane didn't get chances, got one by chance, took it, never looked back. Dane Scarlett has had chances in Tottenham's first team. He didn't do very well last season at Portsmouth. He started off okay, but then fizzled out. He's done nothing this year at Ipswich. I'm starting to kind of lose a little bit of, what do I know? I don't know enough, but my instinct tells me he isn't going to make it. Could be wrong. I hope I am, but I think that he's not going to make it. But then you look at Tottenham's, I think the same for Troy Parrott. Like, I don't think he's never going to make it at Tottenham, right? But then you look at the next crop, and you've got Mikey Moore, who's right down the list in terms of age, but talent off the clock, right? Alfie Devine up there. Who else we got? Alfie Dorrington,
you've got Santiago, you've got
Santiago, how many of these kids are gonna?
Alfie Devine for me is top of the tree. As in right here, right now, I rate him higher than Donnelly. Listen, Donnelly's sensational. He is absolutely brilliant and will be. Alfie Devine, and again, one of the reasons, so people that watch you that may not have heard me tell this story as well. Alfie Devine, when he was at Wigan, my parents, one of my parents' closest friends, their son was on the medical team at Wigan, and he was telling me that this guy has got stamina and a motor like he's never seen before. And this guy has been, the people that have been talking at Wigan that have been in football 20, 30 odd years, they were saying this guy, you know how people talk about how fit James Milner is, and he'll do the beat. They said he smashes records in comparison of him at 15, 16. Yes, there's the age difference. We talk about Pape Matar Sarr, and people go, oh my God, he must have an extra set of lungs or whatever. Well, Alfie is better than that, than Sarr, than that. Obviously, Sarr, who I'm a huge fan of, so is Johnny. I'm a huge fan of Sarr. Alfie Devine will go right to the very top. And
at Tottenham,
I pray to God, but put it this way, mate, I don't need many reasons to go mad. If we let Alfie
how long's his contract? How much longer is he? Still got 4 years.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, perfect. Right.
He signed his new contract last season.
Next season he'll be at the Championship, and after that, hopefully he'll be
Or who knows? I think at a push he could be at Tottenham next season. Do I think a loan to the Championship might suit him? Maybe. Especially, listen, if we're in the Champions League, I think it's going to be a bridge too far for him.
Yeah.
And
Conference League, though, maybe you keep him around, right?
Yeah. What we need to do as well, Sean, is like you said, we've got this crop coming through, and for once we've got to do this right. We've got to make sure they're going out and getting first team football rather than sitting there stagnating and just excelling in the league that they're playing in for Tottenham. They need to go out and earn their stripes. They need to go and cut their teeth in professional football, not just youth football. Alfie Devine, if you go back and watch Ali Gold, every time he does a report on Alfie Devine, when he went up an age, he said within about 3-4 months, he's outgrown, he's too good for this league. They've put him up. They're too good for this. Remember at the beginning of the season as well, because of injuries that was happening, Gareth Southgate even had him in the England first team for training, not in the squad or anything, but they called him up to have him. The kid's got it all.
He didn't look out of place in the pre-season when we were over in Korea. Now I thought he looked absolutely fine. I thought he looked comfortable. Yeah, I'm excited to see him. How old is he?
He's 19. He'll turn. 19. Put it this way: he'll turn 20 on August the 1st. There is one I'm stalking. I know all his details. Alfie is a very special talent. Very, very, very special. And I think once he gets into, I even said, and I've never put a bet on in my life. I would put a bet on for a cheeky tenner on an outside bet that he makes England's 2026 World Cup squad here in Canada. That's how much I believe in him. Not saying a tenner's a load of money, but I think he's
better get 100 to 1 on it though. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, nice.
He's going to be incredible. J Max just said he could be Devine's backup. He could be Skip's backup. This is a guy like we're talking with Gibbs White. This guy can do it all. Big up, Russ. This guy can do it all.
Interesting. No, I'm excited to see it, mate. I really am. You know, we've got a lot of youth, a lot of talent in the youth, but there's such promise, but there's such relatively low breakthrough. Dane Scarlett was banging the goals in in the under 21s 3 years ago, right? And what's he done? Like, I mean, are we? Am I wrong to sit there and say just don't think he's ever going to cut the mustard?
Well, sure. You look at this now. This is why obviously it was confirmed today he's coming home for the second half. Yes, he's going to be with Jermaine Defoe, but you look at it now. Just in strikers, you've got Valise, Scarlett, Parrott, Sinsop Bell. That's 4 of them. There's no way.
Sinsop Bell's not young though, isn't it? Sinsop Bell, isn't he more closer to 21? Isn't he?
And you've got Lancaster as well, or Lancashire, whatever his name is.
Lancashire,
Lancashire, one of the two, who was banging him in at Sheffield United. Then we brought him here. So that's 5 strikers in the waiting that are of the youngsters or a crop of youngsters coming through. There is no way. Lancashire, there you go. Lancashire, Adrian just said there's 5 of them. There's no way all 5 of them break into this first team. It's just
no. But you know what you do want to happen is you want to have some sort of sell-on value. Because the whole point of this youth system is to try to raise money to go onto your FFP. So what Chelsea did. Chelsea, like, I think Chelsea are an absolute mess, but you can at least respect the methodology of what they're doing. They go out and they buy all these young players, 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, put them on their youth and they'll loan them out. They'll keep some of them. They'll keep them where they are. They'll have that kind of that model. They've got the French team now. They can work things through. And if some of them, if they're not good enough for Chelsea's first team, then they'll sell them or loan them out with money that comes and just gets hit straight against FFP. For me, I think it's a problem that FFP allows you to do that. FFPs are supposed to stop money coming in, brutalizing the model, but like Chelsea have figured out how to get around it. And consequently, I don't think you should be able to just go and buy up every 18-year-old that costs 8 million quid with a little bit of potential. If you've got the intentions of spending £1 billion and you go and buy 40 players that are 17 or 18 years old that are the highest caliber, and you pay £8 million for all of them in the hope that you're going to sell 20% of them for 20 million quid, and then that sits on your FFP books now, which allows you then to go and buy another £100 million player later. The whole point of FFP is to stop wealthy people coming in and buying £100 million players all the time. But Chelsea can do that if they keep selling these £5 million, £10 million 18-year-olds. And that money comes, it should be the player that you bring in should be amortized against your contract, and the player that you sell should be amortized against your contract. It shouldn't be this wiggle room that exists to allow the same sort of shenanigans to take place as that have always have, just under a new set of rules that are easy to get around as well. It's bonkers to me.
Well, you look at this as well, Sean, where as you've just said, Chelsea do this well and they get rid of players and they sell them on. The last few years, we've had Mark Ande leave, contract expired.
Yeah.
Mundell, who is a real talent, leave.
Well, Dylan Mark Handy went to Blackburn, broke his leg first game. Is he back? Is he back yet? Is he doing okay?
I haven't been keeping an eye on him, but then we've done this just now with Mundell. Like you said, this is meant to be like we were talking about with the first team. And
did he go to Standard Liège or somewhere?
He's gone to Belgium, yeah. I think he went with Yaya Toure. I think he's where Yaya is. But this is what happens. We have these talents and we're just sitting on our thumbs with them, and then they walk out the door for free. So we're not doing that part right. So there's something wrong there. So like you just said, when we're talking about these 5 strikers, 5 just don't go into the 3, 2, 1, 3, whatever way you want to look at it. There's no way all 5 of them go on to have a glittering Spurs or a Spurs first team career.
That's okay though, right? Cameron Carter's-Vickers got us £10 million that put us against FFP. We sold him to Celtic, or I think it was 10 million quid. I'm okay with that stuff. I'm okay if we deem a player not good enough. I'm okay with selling them. But this loan with options, like, it's been the bane of our life for the last 4 years, hasn't it?
It's what keeps.
No one ever takes up the option. What is the point of an option if no one's ever going to take it up?
Sean, I'll bring this back to the first squad. Like you said, with this, we said a lot of our team is squad filler. Sergio Reguilon is a squad number. oh, we're obviously he's on loan, we don't register him, but he's there, he'll come. Every loan we send him out on, his value's going down. We keep saying, oh, but this, if he gets first team football, it could increase his value. We could get money. Well, look at the loan deals he's had. Yes, he had an injury in Atletico Madrid and an illness, a severe illness. They're losing money. They're losing money. We, like you said, we keep doing this. We've had to do it with Dembele. There's other, we just keep sending them out on loan, and no one takes the option. Not like you said.
Yeah.
We keep doing this, and it clears space, and it looks like we've got one out the door and saved on the wage bill. But then all of a sudden they come back and be squad filler.
Yeah.
And it's Sean, I'll be with you in 2 seconds. I just got to give the cat lunch.
All right, mate. Yeah,
literally 2 minutes. I'll be right
no
back.
worries, mate. Yeah, come back.
Maybe that could be a new video I do. You do walks with the dog. I'll do feeding the cat videos. They'll be about 30 seconds long.
Should be a short if you're going to do it. Make it a short. Good to have Brian back. It was nice to have someone to talk to. I'm gonna have to feel my way back through the solo stream stuff, guys. I mean, we're talking about youth team players coming through. We're talking about the long line of centre back options that are coming in. This January the 1st is right around the corner. Matty Hayes is in the house. Hello, Matty Hayes. How you doing, mate? Good to see you, buddy. I reckon we should clone Vicario and play him in all 11 positions. I think. Listen, well, let's talk about Vicario for a minute. If ever there was a case in point as to why what I do, what Brian does, with all due respect, what all of us do is irrelevant, is Vicario. We all sit there and run our eyes over using Y-Scout, using FB refs, using YouTube, using our eye test when we know the games. We sit there and go, no, this player, no, that player, yes, that play, perfect for the system. And then someone like Vicario comes along and all of us most of us are like, who? And the rest of us are probably focusing more on, it's got to be Raya. This is typical Daniel Levy, typical Tottenham. And Vicario comes in and it's just boshed all the expectations out the window. Nobody thought he would be as good as he is. I don't think anybody other than maybe the person who first brought him up, whoever that person was, whether it was Paratici, whether it was Ange, whether it was whoever it was who discovered Vicario. It just goes to show how irrelevant all of our opinions are, because there's somebody at Tottenham who knows a talent when he sees it. And that's what's reassuring and also frustrating at the same time. So I hope to God that whoever we sign this January, if Dragusin is the guy and he's going to drag us into a title race or drag us into a mid-table battle, I really trust that, even though I can't see what it is about Dragusin that is so meaningfully impressive, I haven't seen it, I don't understand it, but I am, just because of the Vicario, Matty Hayes, just because of the Vicario example, I'm more than happy just to get behind any transfer. I trust Tottenham's transfer strategy now more than I ever have. Brian, do you agree? Or
yeah, I mean, even I just for a change, Sean, I went nuts when the Raya deal collapsed. Who'd have thought it? And guess where I went nuts at? I went nuts at a certain owner, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I'll say it on this channel as well. Boy,
but he's not involved as much anymore. So you can still be right about Levy.
Yeah.
I will be right about Levy, right? I don't agree with you about Daniel Levy in terms of the ownership. We batted heads for 2 years about that. But you can still be right about him getting involved in and I don't disagree with your review of him in terms of involvement in transfers. I think like the Jed Spence thing is pretty obvious. Someone's got into his ear and said, he's the guy you want, and he's gone about and made it part of his little passion project, and it's been a disaster. But hopefully now he's taking steps back. We've got 4 more people involved in transfers than we had this time last year. And,
well, this is
hopefully Levy's involvement in the identification of the players is no longer
you would think
a relevant factor, which is great, right?
You'd hope so. And we'll see. Listen, like I said, this is why I'm only judging Levy solely by Andrew said he wants his players in quick. That's what he said. I don't care how much we spend. I don't care if they're coming on loan. I don't care if they play in the A League. the MLS, Europe. I don't care if I know them. Like you said, from this summer, it's given me confidence that the people that are making these decisions know what they're doing. And the people that pulled Vicario off, including Levy, deserve a huge amount of credit for that transfer, because that was, I have been saying, I think pound for pound, the most incredible value for money transfer in world football. That's how good I think that deal was.
Who was the last transfer that we brought in that was a mistake, or that not mistake? That's a harsh one. That has proven that hasn't proven to be correct yet. Is it Solomon?
Solomon, I think it's too easy. To Solomon, I think that's too soon. Sorry, not too easy, too soon.
Yeah, too soon to tell.
He started getting into a game, then he picked up this injury. I think it's too soon.
I think Brennan Johnson's going to be a slow burn. Right? I think he's going to get better and better. I haven't been impressed thus far for most point, but I can see his trajectory. I can see him learning, and I think he'll become better in next year or the year after. I think he'll be brilliant. I don't know how far back you have to go. Bentancur was excellent. So
Brennan Johnson, just quickly, Sean, for me, we'll go back, is if you look at it, he came on the very last day of the window. Then he had to get used to Ange's style of play, Ange's fitness requirements. Then he started playing on the left and picked up an injury. Then he came back and picked up the concussion. When he started playing on the right, he looks a lot better. Look at the assist for Richarlison on Saturday. I think by this time next year, we see the real Brennan Johnson. I think a lot of it as well is 50 million. And you look at it, when he was at Notts Forest last year, he kept them up. And he was the talisman, and he could do what he wanted. And obviously, he was the one they looked to for inspiration to get the victory. He's in a bigger fish now, where the expectations are a lot higher. So it's an adjustment. I think we talk about him this time next year in a very, very different light. I think this guy is going to be a star for Tottenham. I really do.
Brennan Johnson, yeah?
Yeah, I
agree. I agree. I can see the logic behind it. I can see the trajectory. I'm more than happy to be patient. Solomon, I also think it was more of a business decision, and I think that it won't. I think that even if he doesn't work out for Tottenham, it won't work out to be a failure, because you'll be able to sell him for 8 million, 10 million, whatever, and there'll be some sort of financial logic that won't make it a disaster, even if he doesn't turn out for Tottenham. And I think he could. So then you have to go back. So if it's not one of those guys, it's no one this summer. Then if you're looking for the last kind of like, don't know if that was a good one. It's obvious. It's after Kulusevski and Bentancur.
You're looking at Galini.
When was Galini?
Galini was with
that was the summer before Bentancur. That was
when Romero came. But also you could throw, and I don't really want to throw him in this because I liked him, especially this season before he got injured. You could say Perisic. I think Perisic has been so much. I'm not sure if it's value for money because he gets paid 180 grand a year, but I think he's been. I think he was our best. I think he's our second best forward, second best left winger. Yeah, I'm saying with the games he's played, obviously.
I don't think he's a failure at all. I think we played him in the wrong position under Conte.
Correct.
Yeah, people are saying Richie. People are saying Emerson Royale. When was the last failure? Spot on, Ryan says J Mac. The last failure, Ndombele. That's going back a long time, mate. That's 4 years ago. We must have had a failure since then. Dan Juma, he was a loan deal. Not sure if that. I mean, he didn't work out, but
it's a good one from Graham. Graham's come up with a great one. Graham Bartlett saying Reguilon.
Reguilon has been our worst transfer.
Then you got.
Wait, he's coming back on Sunday. No, Monday. He's back at Tottenham,
and he'll be out on loan again by the end of the month. From what people have been saying, he'll be in Germany.
Really? Okay. Where are you seeing that?
I saw it last week or the week before. The Borussia Dortmund. I think it's Borussia Dortmund that are after him on a loan.
You wouldn't have him as backup to.
I would
to back up to. Is he going to go out because he takes up a squad place? He's a homegrown. He's a non-homegrown. So therefore, if you're going to pick between him and Sessegnon, you're going to keep Sessegnon because he's homegrown and Reguilon's not. Right?
But he's hardly on the pitch. He doesn't. Yes, he's homegrown, but he's never available. He's never available.
I think he's done well at United, Mark Changor. Ten Hag doesn't trust him. I think Reguilon's done really well. I think he's been one of their better players this season, hasn't he?
He's had a few good games. He's had a few good games, but we've seen. I think at left back, obviously, it suited him better than left wing back. He played very well at left back under Mourinho for a brief period of time. There you go. Exactly what I was just saying. What Lee said. But it's whether we keep him. It's whether we keep him. This is the thing. Or do we send him out on another loan? Oh, wait a minute. We might have a winner as well. Hojbjerg, the last comment, has come up with one. That's still a while ago. That's still a while ago.
That is a long time ago. Although he's doing really well at Leeds. A lot of people are asking, can we bring him back?
He's flying at Leeds. I've got a very close friend who's a Leeds fan, and when they were actually going for him, they're like, what are we getting? And I was like, hit or miss. He had a brief spirit. I still say before Jose got sacked, he was our best defender for about a month. I think he was, but I said he's very up and down. And he messages me every week.
I think he was tried at Tottenham. I think he was massively unlucky.
He messages me every week saying, thanks for Joe Rodon, thanks for Joe Rodon. And also, people are talking as well. You got to remember, you talk about the left wing back or left back. I actually think someone else at least can actually solve the Destiny's backup, which is Jed Spence. He's doing it for Leeds. Back. I don't know if I bring him back this January, but when we're talking about left backs,
I think he's the answer to our question.
Who?
Jed Spence. I think he's been
Oh, there you go. No, that's the most recent. Yeah.
I think he's the most recent failure. Not because he hasn't been given a chance. I don't think he's deserved the chance. I think when I saw, apart from the 15 minutes of good form he did against Mbappe when he went to France, I just don't think he's. I think that was all on Daniel Levy. That wouldn't never have happened if it wasn't for him.
Yep. Maybe he can come back and do something. Maybe he can come back and do something. Whether it can or it can't. But I think you're right. I think
I'd sell him for 5 million quid. Sell it 5 million quid, bite your hand off. See you later.
How much did you pay for 15? 12, 15?
Yeah.
12 and 15. Yeah, I don't see us selling him for 5. I don't see us
lick your wounds on it, and walk away. Get a few million back.
I think it is the answer to the question, though. I think it is.
I think that is the answer to the question. I think that's the question.
Yeah.
Spence is an athlete, not a footballer. Attitude problem, bad apple. Yeah, I agree.
About the attitude problem. I've heard quite a few things about his attitude.
Spence played on the left for Leeds. Yeah. I just think, I don't think he'll ever be at Tottenham. So therefore, the most recent poor permanent purchase, I think, it goes to Jed Spence.
There you go. Oh, yeah, we're doing the awards, the end of year awards.
Maybe I'll do that. We'll do the big fat Tottenham quiz of the year on Saturday, and we'll do the big fat Tottenham awards of the year
2023
on 2023 on Sunday.
I'm
go for a week. I'm busting. Can you hold fort for 5 minutes?
Yeah, no, we can. I can't bring any comments up, but
so 5 seconds.
What were we going to talk about next? What was the same? Was it about Brighton coming up?
About Brighton, yeah. So
let's see what people think about Brighton. Let's get people's.
All right, get your thoughts on Brighton, guys. I'm back in literally 20 seconds, and then we'll go through the team news.
Start the timer. Now, Sean will go on my first whistle. Yeah, people in the chat. I can't bring them up, but who is your centre back pairing for Brighton tomorrow? Do you start a Dorrington or a Phillips? I think Phillips is fit. I'm hearing. I don't know if that's true when it comes to it. Boxing Hotspur, big up my man. Brighton will boss the midfield. Oh, wait a minute. I've seen him and I haven't addressed him by name. I can't bring up the comments. Maddie Hayes. Maddie Hayes is in the building. Emerson and Davies, that's what I think it's going to be myself. Although I would go with what Cantab said right below if he's fit, and that would be Phillips and Davies. Who else have we got? We've got me saying Phillips and Davies. Hennessy's here. Big up, Hennessy, brother. You're going Royal and Phillips. You're dropping Davies. I'd like to know why. I think Davies is the definite starter. Leo thinking we'll win 2-1. Victor is saying Davies and Royale is the safe choice. Ashley Phillips from Rooty 2. Big up, Rooty 2, brother. Hope you're good. I think that actually was 20 seconds.
Try to be as fast as I can. I've got to catch my breath.
Yeah, that was
probably left a little stain, but I didn't shake enough.
I like the Leicester video.
Lovely, jubbly, like the old intro video used to show. Yeah, 100%.
Oh, that video. So we're just going through centre-back parents to begin with.
Can people hear me?
I can hear
you. Could people hear me having a wee?
No.
Okay. Fine.
No, you didn't have your microphone on or take your microphone with you because that'd just be a bit weird.
I've done that before, though. I have done that before, for sure.
I almost done it. You know when we did the World Cup France thing and we had the mics that would put
we are Tottenham TV.
So many times I almost went to the toilet and I was like, oh wait a minute, I've got a microphone. And stopped just before where we hadn't had our microphone. Yeah, I've
whistling like
I've come close. It reminds me. Do you just very quickly? It reminds me of the guy that plays the headmaster in The In-Betweeners, Greg Davies.
Yeah,
he tells this story on Graham Norton where he worked at a school that was very, very good had a massive, brilliant reputation for the hearing impaired, and he'd been out on a 24-hour bender.
In that story, yeah.
Oh, mate, that story just has me.
You can tell the story. Tell it.
And he goes for a curry the night before, pissed out of his head. Then all of a sudden he's going to the toilet and he's got his mic on. First of all, he realizes he's wearing his mum's underwear. And then he's just, as he said, he's done a Jackson or whatever it's called, a Pollock. Is it a Jackson Pollock? A Jackson Pollock artwork in the toilet. And he's shouting and screaming. Then he goes back into his class, and the looks on all the kids' faces because he's forgot he had his mic on. It's just brilliant.
All the way through, yeah.
Yeah, but and him shouting at himself, going, "Oh fuck!
Unbelievable! Great story. Very, very funny story that was. Yeah. All right, let me move swiftly forward, guys. We've been going for nearly 2 hours, and this is an unusually long stream, and I love it. I thank David. Dave, Brian. I really appreciate you joining. Let me start with the team news for Brighton. They are without Ansu Fati, Espinola, Veltman, Estupinan, Webster, Tariq Lamptey, Mitoma, and Solly March. So 4 or 5 of their best players this season are all out injured. So their back 4 is probably going to look like Igor on left back for Estupinan, who's actually a centre-back who's being shoehorned out there. Lewis Dunk in the centre-back spot. Van Heck and then Hinshelwood on the right back, who's an 18-year-old kid. Their 2 sort of number 6s, double pivot is going to be Billy Gilmore and Pascal Gross. Pascal Gross is their danger. For me, like the guy who pops up with goals all the time. He's an incredible player. I love Pascal Gross. And then they've got Adingra, their young kid, Lallana, and then probably Buonanotte, I think that's how you say it, the youngster on the right-hand side, and then João Pedro up top. Ferguson might even be on the bench, such as... Let me ask you about Evan Ferguson quickly, because a load of people, I spend a lot of time talking to Dave, Irish Dave, mate.
Yep.
And I know that I don't think he's saying this about Ferguson because he's Irish and there's like the Irish kind of romance thing, but he reckons that we should go and spend £100 million on Evan Ferguson. If there was £100 million available for Evan Ferguson, if we had £100 million,
yep.
Dave's like, you want to replace Harry Kane, you go and get someone like him who can sort you out for the next 10 years. Are you like, he's not even starting for Brighton right now, or doesn't start all the time. Are you like on board with this £100 million valuation for this kid?
I'm not on board the valuation. I am totally on board with bringing him in. People have been speaking, and obviously the name Ivan Toney keeps popping up for obvious reasons. If I had the choice, Ivan Toney or pay the little bit extra and go get Ferguson, I'm taking Ferguson every single day of the week. It's not even a debate for me or a discussion. I think
£100 million though, mate.
Yeah, listen, it's the stupidity of the market.
You're pricing in perfection. You are pricing in perfection. There's no you buy him for £100 million, even if he goes and scores 20 goals for you next season and 20 goals the year after, and he's 21 and he scored 20 goals in both of his last 2 seasons. What's his valuation? If Harry Kane was 85 million, I know he only had a year left in his contract,
and was
but
30 years old.
With FFP tightening around the grip around every single club, and Tottenham being the 3rd or 4th most profitable, earnings before interest and tax and stuff, club in the world, the only clubs who can go out and spend £100 million on players are clubs who have owners who kick the can down the road and worry about the detail later.
Yep.
Is Evan Ferguson really worth £100 million? How much can you actually sell him for, even if he goes and bags you a double-double 2020 over the next 2 seasons? When was it, like 200 million? Who's going to pay? No one can ever afford to pay 200 million. At £100 million, you are pricing in perfection. I just don't see it. I just don't see how the value is there.
Listen, I can agree. Listen, 100 million for I think he's still a teenager, or he might have just hit 20. I can't remember the exact age of him. But I think this kid is something special. I really, really like everything about him. I agree with what you're saying. The finances are just,
for me, it's just a business. It's a business thing. I love the player. I'd love a player like that.
Yep.
But I just think that £100 million, how you can possibly value, because that's essentially 25% almost, or 20% of Tottenham's entire year's revenue.
Of course,
one player. And Tottenham are at the top end of the revenue structure anyway, across all the teams in the Premier League, and every other team in Europe is broke, so they can't compete. So if Evan Ferguson's worth £100 million, I like the only teams that could ever pay it are teams that are just speculating, that they're betting the house on an outcome, and Evan Ferguson might be the solution. But if he's not, you've got a real problem.
But do you think as well, Sean, when you say this, could Brighton slap 100 million on, knowing that they've got a number, let's say 70? That they'd accept? They're not going to say, right, 100. It could be like with look what happened with us with Raya. They wanted 40, and then all of a sudden he's gone on loan for 3 mil, and then Arsenal are going to buy him for a cheaper amount. It could be just a strategy that they're putting up, right?
Well, I think Brighton are in no need to set. Brighton want to keep hold of him, but they don't want him. They've already got 100 million in the past for Caicedo, but I just can't see this. I can't see these inflationary prices continuing, because they're getting out of control. It's out of control. Caicedo for 105 million, Enzo for 110, whatever it was. It's just this Todd Bowley idiot coming in, and I think that Chelsea are going to implode. I've said it for 2 years. People I love Sabba to pieces. Shout out to him if he's watching. But he was right about Aston Villa. I was wrong about Aston Villa. He was wrong about Chelsea. I think I'm right about Chelsea. I think Chelsea are going. I don't think it's a sustainable model, and I think Chelsea are going to really struggle. And I think they've set these benchmarks. They set these precedents around ridiculous bids for okay players, for good players, but there's no sell-on value. There's no ability to get the money back. If Chelsea don't like Enzo in 2 years' time, who the hell is going to pay the money that they paid for Enzo?
Well, I'll tell you what, Sean, I'm going to whack another strike at you. I mean, obviously, Solanke's been spoken about for obvious reasons, who's doing wonderful things right now. I'm going to chuck a name out who I think in the Premier League is achievable, and I think under Ange would be brilliant, and I don't think enough people are talking about him just because of where he plays. I rate Cameron Archer at Sheffield United.
Yeah, like him as well.
I think he could be incredible. I mean, Evan Ferguson, if I could sign a young homegrown player, it would be Evan Ferguson for the forward role. But I think we should keep a close eye on Cameron Archer. That's the thing. I don't know. But then you got to look at it with all real. Let's just use Cameron Archer right now as if
25 million quid.
Yeah, let's look at. I mean, I can't remember how much they got him for, but they bought him this season. And you start looking at it and start thinking.
They paid 21 million euros for him, so they paid about 17 million quid from Aston Villa.
So let's just say sorry, Matty. Ferguson won't be homegrown because of Matty. Let me know what you think about Cameron Archer.
Ferguson could become homegrown.
Yeah,
even though he's Irish. Even though if he spends 3 years before he's 21, right? Then he will be, unless he goes abroad, he will become a homegrown player.
Yeah, so getting back to Archer as well, you've got to remember, Sheffield United now, they're in a predicament where do they think, Obviously, the parachute payments will help them, but do they, if they think they're going to go down, do they think, right, let's cash in on him and Premier League whilst we're a Premier League team, or do we risk taking a huge hit when we drop down? I think Cameron Archer is one to watch out for.
I like Cameron Archer, mate. I really like him. He's doing really well on a Sheffield United team. You have to look at the player and go, take him out of the team that he's asked to do what he's asked to do in. Does he have the skill? Have you seen things of him with his frame, his physical competence, his ability to read the game? Have you seen things from him in that environment that if you put him into an environment where he was given more chances, then he would do better?
Yep.
And Cameron Archer for me is definitely someone that I think absolutely would. I would also extend it to Dominic Solanke. I was talking about Dominic Solanke before you came on, Brian, but like I think the people. I put a video out about Solanke yesterday. 99. I asked people. I said, "What would you we linked with him? Yes or no? Interested?" And it was 99.9% don't want him, no chance. A few people were like, not at that value, but most people were just don't want him anyway. I think Dominic Solanke has far more footballing brain than Richarlison does.
I think what we've got to look at as well, I think if there's anything we need to learn from this market is just go look at Vicario. Just go look at other, not saying he's going to get up there or anything, but we need to stop this. Oh, he's not played in this team. He's not played. I think.
I don't know why people don't like Cameron Archer. Anyone that's saying no, John G, tell me why Cameron Archer is not it. Is it because he plays for Sheffield United? Like, he's not going to cost 100 million quid. You could get him for 25 million pounds. I'm not suggesting necessarily we should get him, but why? What's wrong with Cameron Archer?
He's put his response in. And do you know what? You got to respect. It's down a few. You'll see it at 7:15 your time.
7:15. This one.
No, one down. No, a few more down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 comments down is John G's.
Here you go. There you go. The fans. Sometimes we are happy with the mediocre. I'm just telling the truth. But what makes you say he's mediocre? Just because he's played for Sheffield United? He's been there one season and he's done really well. Well for the worst team in the Premier League. He's done really well. How many goals has he scored?
But this is the thing. When you look at it, people look at it in different ways. I'm looking at it now. I'm trying to look at things and think where players play. Like you said, he's doing well in a Sheffield United system where they're not really using his best abilities, his pace and whatever. Look, you give Cameron Archer and James Maddison firing balls at him regularly. You look how many chances we're creating regularly. I think he could be a hit at Tottenham. Doesn't mean he will be. I'm saying if we're looking around for a striker, we're not going to go spend big money on a striker, which, let's face it, I don't think we will. I think Cameron Archer is the kind of price range we would probably pay for a striker. And I think if he came in, he could do something. Doesn't mean he will.
I don't think I'm not ready for Cameron Archer to replace Harry Kane just yet. But I like where your mind's going, mate. I'm like there's two arguments, right? People want to go, well, we lost a £100 million player. You've got to replace a £100 million player. There's not that many out there. There's so many. There's such a short supply of awesome number 9s that are adaptable to new systems. You have to start looking further afield. And also Tottenham need these homegrown. Tottenham need to worry about homegrown and also need to worry about a striker. Now, you don't have to do two at the same time. You can worry about homegrown in defense. You can worry about homegrown in midfield. You can worry about homegrown elsewhere. But if you're going to go after someone that elevates your homegrown and elevates your striking options, then you're going to play the multiplier. I explained this on a video this morning. But for me, I don't know if Cameron Archer is the guy, but I certainly don't understand why people are saying he's rubbish. He's not rubbish at all. He's a very, very talented player. He just happens to be playing for the worst team in the Premier League right now. But if you take him out of that team and put him into a better team, can you see him getting 10, 12, 15 goals in a year? I think you could see that 100%.
And I have to say, the last comment you got from Peter Simons, completely agree. I don't want any forwards in or anything until a defender's in, or at least one. That is without, I said this last season. That I kept saying, and people that have watched me would know that I keep saying defenders, we need defenders, and that hasn't changed at all. That hasn't changed at all. But there are other targets we're looking at. I mean, I think Jota. What do you think of Jota? Do you think he's coming? Because I think he's in, and Brian Hill is going to do is go top up his tan in Spain again. Because that's what we do with him. He comes back for 6 months. We
That's
say
what I mean.
he's
I like
going to
Jota.
play. I think Hill is going back to Spain once again.
Okay. No, I don't disagree. It's a shame about Brian Hill. I've got this kind of I feel like he's like a little brother of mine that I want to, I want to see him do well.
Yep.
I don't know what it is. Like I feel like I will forgive his poor performances more than I would other people. So I don't know why I do it. I have like a bit of a positivity bias towards him. I want him to do well, but ultimately, I just don't think he's made or cut out for the Premier League. And if Jota comes in, yeah, I'm a big fan of Jota. I always was. I think the guy's got a brilliant finish from distance. He cuts in. He's quick-footed. People think that Jota's finished. He's only 23 or 20. He's like 24 years old, isn't he, Jota? He's like
something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that. I've just realised we started talking Brighton and we spoke Ferguson, then we went completely off
topic. Yeah, we're completely off topic. Let's get back to Brighton, mate, to finish it off. So I've given you my sort of 11. I feel like Brighton are missing 4 or 5 of their main sort of players, but they've still got a lot of youth and a lot of excellence in there. How do you see Tottenham lining up, mate?
Well, first of all, I mean, when you were going through Brighton, you mentioned a player. What the hell, Lamptey was so promising, wasn't he? Yeah. He's another one that just can't stay fit. Unfortunately, he's a real player. I think the concern for me now with us with the Romero news today is, do we go midfield attacking wise, or do we go midfield with 2 defensive to protect the weak underbelly that is the centre backs? Were you there on Saturday against Everton, Sean? Did you go down?
No, I was supposed to. I was seeing ticket, but I unfortunately woke up and then forgot that it was Christmas, the weekend before Christmas. And by the time I was ready to leave, I looked at the traffic to get there, and I was like, I would have missed the game, so I had to watch it on.
Makes sense. Well, but yeah, I don't know if you felt it as well, because not being in the game. When you saw Eric Dyer coming on the second half, I was watching the Scotland Yard. You could just sense the anticipation and the mood change considerably with the arrival. He did. He made that one.
I think Eric Dyer is a scapegoat. I know he's not good enough. I know no one wants him at the club. I know we all agreed on the fact that he's part of the past and not part of the future. But I feel like he did okay. He's not great. He's never going to be as good as Romero.
No, he's not.
But I think he got 3 interceptions, 3 tackles, 3 clearances. It ain't bad for a bloke that no one wants and a guy who knows he's not wanted. I thought he did okay. I think people scapegoat Eric Dyer and Ben Davies too much. I think Ben Davies has been phenomenal. Eric Dyer not as much, but I think Eric Dyer did, like, considering the circumstances, I thought he did okay against. I can agree with you tomorrow. I want Royale to come in for what it's worth, but I do think he did okay.
I can agree with you to a certain extent, but what I will say is, when we saw the Danjuma effort, they targeted that right centre back and right back side because Porro was going up and was missing Destiny. I think them two together, when they're separated as well, their partnership is like the Walker and Rose. It's as vital as the centre back pairing. Them
that
two
is
together.
That is the kind of social contract that you have to shake hands with when you're playing this system. This system encourages risk. It takes a calculated risk where the fullbacks get caught out, and when Porro gets caught out, and this is what I'm terrified of, right? This is why I'm like, Ollie Skip, really? Are we doing that? Because if you're going to have Eric Dyer next to Pedro Porro, and Pedro Porro is going to go upfield and commit, and then you've got Ollie Skip, the guy who's responsible to play the Bissouma role, and the one thing that Ollie Skip can't do anywhere near as good, the weakest part of Ollie Skip's game is his passing, right? It's weak. It's so weak. It goes astray all the time. And so if you're going to commit Pedro Porro, as you do in this system, and you've got Eric Dyer next to him, and you've got Ollie Skip in front, you are asking for trouble. I'm okay handling Eric Dyer if you've got Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg in the 6, because at least Hojbjerg doesn't give away passes to the same frequency. But if you've got Skip with his poor passing, then you're going to give the ball to Brighton more times than you should. They're going to lump it back into Pedro Porro's corner, and then you've got Eric Dyer against Alingra. And that, to me, is terrifying. So I'd rather see if you're going to play Dyer, you've got to play Hojbjerg. If you're going to play Emerson Royale, then maybe you can play Skip. But I mean, like, I'm terrified of the prospect of Dyer and Skip and Porro playing in the same kind of.
Sure, you look at it. I've seen some people like Johnny, for instance. Johnny has wanted to see Hojbjerg and Lo Celso and Kulu as the creator, because at least Lo Celso can.
Where do you want Lo Celso? You want Lo Celso in the 8?
Yeah, and then Kulu in the 10.
Who do you want in the 6?
That Hojbjerg. This is what Johnny was saying.
You want Hojbjerg.
Then you've got that's one option. Like that's got Pierre doing what he does. Gio could probably do a bit of both, and Kulusevski to do what he's doing, and what he's doing very, very well in the centre. Oh, you're on the old Stellas, mate. They actually do a really good alcohol-free. They actually do a really, really good alcohol-free.
I wouldn't like Stella if it was an alcohol-free, but when it's got alcohol in it, it's nice.
I'm sure. I mean, I have the same story. I just can't. I can't do what you do. But then you look at it, and
I'm going dry January for what it's worth. I'm going 31 days in January.
Go on, brother. Do you know what? I'll join you. I'll join you for the 16th.
Nice. Appreciate that.
You for the 16th one. But yeah, you could also say, is he going to go Hojbjerg, Skip Kulu, or Hojbjerg, Skip Gio? This midfield.
Yeah, what is your so what is your midfield? Because I think that's the crucial thing for me. Yeah. It's more important than whether it's Royale or Dyer. For me, I think obviously you got Udogie, Porro, and Ben Davies picks themselves. Then you've got Royale or Dyer.
John G. Sorry, I forgot Sar. Sorry, He was saying Sar Gio. Sorry, John, you're right.
You play Sar in the 6, would you?
Mate, I've nicknamed. There's a guy that comes in our chat. I can't remember his name now. I think it was Lee. That has given me the perfect nickname for Pape Matar. I now call him the lawnmower because he covers every blade of glass. So the lawnmower has to start.
Like that.
The lawnmower. Listen, mate. That's I've it's brilliant. That's what I'm calling him now. The lawnmower. He has to start. I think he's the unsung hero of the season. With Cantab, but just like John G. John G. Thanks for
Sar, Gio, and Decky.
Yeah. That's what.
Oh, we haven't seen Sar in a 6 though.
I think Sar can do the lot.
You haven't seen it.
Well, mate, put it this way: do I have more confidence in Sar? I think Sar. I think you start with this, and then you probably see. Sure, this is a question I'll ask you now because there's been a lot of Pierre talk, and you know how much of a fan I am with Pierre.
Yeah,
and I've been saying I think he's an ace in the pack to bring off the bench, not because I don't think he should start. Compared to Ollie Skip, because what I've been saying is with Pierre, if he comes on after half-time, like he's against Man City, Ange knows what he needs to do in the game. It could be like, right, we're winning, hold it, keep it sturdy, do this. If we need to attack, it's like, Pierre, I need you to be more progressive. I think he can do more and influence the game when Ange knows how he needs to play the second half than starting the game and taking him off and then bringing a Skip on. I think Pierre gives you more options coming from the bench and can dictate. I think he's had so much more of a better impact coming up. I'm not saying that I think he should be benched because he's a bad player. I hear you. I think
if you start with, I hear what you're saying. If you start with, Hojbjerg is a great option off the bench to protect the game, to protect the lead. If you're 2-0 up, if you're 2-1 up, you bring him on, slow the game down, similar to Skip. But I feel like if you start with Skip and it goes wrong, and I've got far more confidence, even with a checked out Hojbjerg, I've got more confidence with his professionalism than I do with Skip's ball playing skill set. Okay, I just don't vibe with Ollie Skip's ball playing skills. I think he's very good at getting back and defending. I think he's probably our best defensive midfielder in the art of getting back and tackling from behind. But on the ball, I think he gives the ball away too much. And I think that is a massive concern to teams that then know as soon as you get the ball, lump it into the corners. And then you've got Porro who's caught upfield and Eric Dyer against someone like a Lingra. I think it's going to be a disaster. So for me, I'd rather go with Pierre Hojbjerg and trust his professionalism that he is going to not give the ball away as much. Because I think the midfield dictates the game. And I think I just worry about, I don't think Ollie Skip is a...
Who's your midfield three then, Shawnee?
Hojbjerg, Sar, Decky.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Lo Celso is the option off the bench if we happen to be drawing and needing to chase or whatever else. But I just don't. I've got no value in Skip. I think Skip is only here because he's homegrown. If I'm honest.
So you think he's another squad filler?
100%. And that's why I make the case for Conor Gallagher, or on a lesser scale for Calvin Phillips, because I think we need to level up our homegrown. Our homegrown is awful, Brian. Like, which homegrown players do we have that you actually want to be part of this project? Madison and Brennan Johnson.
Yeah,
right?
and then you're looking at.
You don't really want Fraser Foster, do you? Like, Fraser Foster isn't really the long-term solution. No. Brandon Austin, no. The other one, the other goalkeeper, no. Alfie Whiteman, no. Ollie Skip, no. Ryan Sessegnon, no. Like, these players are only they're here because they're English. They're here because they're English. That's it. That's why you need to bring it. You need to go and bring in an Illing Jr. If you want to get him from Ube, fine, do it, because he's homegrown and he might be talented. Or I don't know, a Lloyd Kelly, or
the good thing is Pepe becomes homegrown next year.
Yeah, but Udogie becomes non-homegrown. So you win with one, you lose with the other, right? As they qualify out of the under-21s. What's your thoughts on what happens tomorrow, mate? What's your
I said before the Romero news, we win 3-1. I'm going to go now for a narrow 3-2. I'm going to go for a narrow 3-2, but that's if we start with Sar, Skip, Gio, Sar, Gio, Kulu. If we go defensive, then I'll probably drop it down to a Desmond. But one thing I think is for sure, and this is no bad thing or thing anything to do with Vicario, I just can't see us keeping a clean sheet tomorrow now. I just can't see it.
Oh, we ain't keeping a clean sheet. No chance. We're not keeping a clean sheet. But it's where we can outscore, right?
Where are you going to score?
I'm going to go with 2-1 to Tottenham.
Okay.
Bite your hand off for a 2-1 win. But I do think that scoring first is going to be crucial.
Well, 100%. Yeah, Adrian's just put as well. We've got to be careful because Sar's on 4 yellows. So if he picks up one tomorrow, that's him out of Bournemouth.
Sar, okay. Romero's going to miss. So that's all going to be cancelled off. And mate, and if your money is on one player coming in on January between the 1st and the 4th, who's your money on?
Well, Jota is my banker that I think happens at some point. I just hope a defender. I just hope a centre back. I'm not even really concerned. Todibo, Dragusin. Did I say it right?
Dragusin.
Oh, so close, so close. I'll work on it. I just hope a centre back is in by the 5th. I hope we have a centre back. Big up, Tony, brother. I just hope we have a centre back in. That's the absolute must. But I think the home banker. If you had to say to me one transfer that's definitely happening in this window, I'm going Jota all day long.
I'm okay with Jota. I'm interested in it. I like Jota. I think he's a good player. Brian, listen, mate, we've been going for 2 hours, 15 minutes, so that's enough of my voice. You've been absolutely fantastic, mate. Really appreciate you. Where can everyone find you, mate? Your link is in the title, guys. If you haven't already, there's 350 people still watching, which is awesome, even though the football's just started. But make sure you get over, if you haven't already, hit the link for Brian's channel, Tottenham on Tour. But Brian, what's going on Tottenham on Tour?
Every morning, there's Cockerel Doodle Doo at 9 a.m., which is just your morning Spurs show, where we have a chilled chat. Friday or day after match days at Angel Management, the match review with me and Johnny. And there's loads of stuff coming in 2024. One of them being Rez, and his shelf-side Spurs show is now a Tottenham on Tour show. But it's going to be revamped and trimmed up, so that'll be every Thursday night. And quite a few new things coming in January. And hopefully Sean Butler will make an appearance or two. We kept talking, we got to do a bit together. So
send me the invite, mate. I'll be there.
100%, brother. Would love to have you on. But most importantly, Happy New Year to everyone that's in the chat, and have a happy and healthy one.
100%, guys. Even if you can't be healthy, be unhealthy, but still be happy. You know what I mean? Right. Just like go and smash yourself up, and then January the 1st, you can figure it out and start with your best intentions. Do what you got to do, guys. I'll be at the Brighton game tomorrow. So no watch long here. I don't know if Brian does a watch long. Do you do a watch long? No watch long.
Scotland Yard, baby. I'm at the Scotland Yard.
Of course he is. He goes to his local. I'll be down. I'm going to try and find a car parking space. It's going to be a nightmare. But guys, I want to say thank you. Yeah, parking at Brighton's going to be. I'm going to have to leave here at like 3 o'clock and be
In
there
the
4
morning.
hours beforehand. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's going to be a disaster. Guys, I want to say massive thank you to everyone that's participated. I'll be back again on Saturday for an early morning stream, and then we're doing the big fat Tottenham quiz of the year Saturday night UK time. So keep a lookout for that. It should be fun. Get some of the boys around from the community, and we're going to go through a book that looks a little bit like this, but not that much like this, that you can go and find the answers. We'll leave it there. Like, subscribe, and comment. Get over to Brian. And as always, guys, come on, you Spurs. Cheers, Brian, mate. Appreciate you.